deals. You never know. You don't like to have too many expectations. You want it because you have to weave and bob, and you don't know what's going to happen. But we're going to go and find out. I'd like to see a ceasefire. I wouldn't be thrilled if I didn't get it, but everyone says you're not going to get the ceasefire. It'll take place on the second meeting. The second meeting is going to be but I'm not going to be happy with that. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to be, I won't be happy if I walk away without some form of a ceasefire. Now, I say this, and I've said it from the beginning, this is really setting the table today. We're going to have another meeting if things work out, which will be very soon. Or we're not going to have any more meetings at all, maybe ever.
Yeah, he said that with Brian Kilmeade on Kilmeade's radio show yesterday. I mean, this is kind of setting up further meetings if it goes well. What are Putin's intentions?
I think they're trying to negotiate. He's trying to set a stage. I mean, in his mind, that helps him make a better deal. It actually hurts him. But in his mind, that helps him make a better deal if they can continue the killing.
Obviously, the issue, one of the big issues is the territorial issues and the swaps that are potentially there.
Are the territorial swaps on the table? Will you be discussing that?
They'll be discussed, but I've got to let Ukraine make that decision. And I think they'll make a proper decision. But I'm not here to negotiate for Ukraine. I'm here to get them at a table. And I think you have two sides. Look, Vladimir Putin wanted to take all of Ukraine. If I wasn't president, he would right now be taking all of Ukraine. But he's not going to do it.
So the demands from Ukraine, they want a durable ceasefire before territory talks, security guarantees. They want Russia to pay for damages caused by the war. They want the return of children and POWs, and they want Trump to keep sanctions on Russia, if not increase sanctions. Russia wants Ukraine to cede the occupied territory. Ukraine must abandon NATO aspirations. They have to demilitarize. Resolution must address the root causes. And then, of course, regime change. It seems like they would be kind of far apart. I don't know that anyone in this room is a foreign policy expert, but I don't know that anyone also realistically, just knowing the players here and knowing the fact that this thing is not moved in a direction to be solved anywhere in the past couple of years. So Jane, I don't know what the reality is here, but Trump could get, maybe get things moving in the right direction. I do think we're going to know relatively quickly. I mean, if he walks out of this meeting, he's not one to just kind of keep his mouth shut. So he's going to tell us how it went and where it might go next.
I mean, it sounds like, look, both sides have unrealistic demands. So, okay. But that is where you start the negotiating. And I mean, everybody has unrealistic demands when they're, trying to press for their side. So, I mean, that is not uncommon. I don't think this is something that's unheard of in the whole, foreign relations, space. So I think they start talking about what's realistic here. And I do think a mediator, I'm not sure if Trump's the guy, but a mediator telling both of them that this is what's unreasonable here. And, I think this is how it always starts. Everybody has their demands. Then you sit down and you start saying, okay, what are you going to get? It's going to take time on task.
Both sides don't seem to be flexible on.
Well, they don't have any
demands.
incentive.
Yeah.
But the United States can provide incentive. You know what I mean? They can put their finger on the scale and say, you know what? We have we have the ability to issue sanctions. We have the ability to help Ukraine, or we have the ability to tell Ukraine that this is an unreasonable demand. I mean, if we're going to join in this little dance, we're going to have to be prepared to put something in the game to change the scales so that both of them have to come to the table. Right now, they have no incentive to go to the table. So we're going to have to help them get that. I mean, that's what leadership is.
Well, it'd be interesting to be in that room. There's no doubt, John, between these two guys, the biggest leaders on the planet.
Well, it's an historic moment. And I think I feel the same way most of the free world feels, that they pray that this comes to a ceasefire first and then the end of this war. There's 1.5 million, 2 million people's lives have been lost or, affected, casualties. This war was going nowhere. The two sides were very close to a stalemate. And, I think if he can pull this off, or if he can at least get them to the table and have somebody else step in and do it, it's nothing short of an historic moment in time. And I pray that he's successful.
Jeff Smith. Obviously, I don't see Democrats necessarily rooting. We're going to talk about some issues where Democrats are rooting against Trump. I don't see Democrats really rooting against him in this moment.
I think I think the country is rooting for him. I think pretty much everybody in the country is just saddened at the thousands of lives that have been lost over there, and just the number of children that have to grow up in that atmosphere where they're awakened by bomb sirens night after night after night.
To think in this era, right?
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants that, and I think I don't care who gets the credit for it. I'm glad that both sides are talking. As John said, we're at something of a stalemate, and the battle lines haven't really shifted at all the last couple of years. So it's, one country gets a little bit of an edge for a few weeks, and then the other country kind of pushes back. And, I'm not seeing a natural end to this. And so hopefully just getting him at the table talking. I know that Putin has wanted this one-on-one meeting for a long time, and maybe he will feel validated, that he gets it on American soil, and maybe he'll move a little bit. So I'm excited to see what comes out of this. And certainly I think Democrats and Republicans, if there's one rare thing that unites us in this country right now, it is rooting for a ceasefire and a solution to this.
And I think that's true. Although a lot of people, if you go back to this particular administration, everyone thought that Trump was, even coming out of that hot meeting with Zelensky at the White House that one day, that Trump somehow is buddy with Putin. I think, look, I take him at his word that he wants to stop the killing. He wants to stop this because it's insane. And then Israel and Gaza, that's a whole nother picture. But to me, to be in this conflict for this long and so many lives being lost. And then there's, it's a little hard to gauge what the impact is on Russia, because I think the impact is more severe.
And they hide it.
Right. Well, because there's economic impact, right?
Yes.
They're losing a lot of young men. I think that the support from inside is questionable. We don't have an accurate picture. I was telling Sue that the other day. It'd be awesome to be there in Russia and just to see what the coverage is like and what the people, in Russia feel about this, because I don't think they're able to express themselves the same way certainly we are in this country via social media or otherwise.
I think certainly the Russians want intermediate and longer term lasting peace, and I think it's to watch the behavior of NATO since the fall of the Great Wall and the expansion of NATO, and I think that all along Putin was pretty clear in the last 15 or 20 years that this was ultimately untenable. You couldn't have NATO expand the way it did. I think that if at the end of the day that they negotiate a peace and there's a ceasefire, but there's nothing different about how NATO operates and who is and who isn't in NATO, I don't think it'll be necessarily perceived as an intermediate, long-term, lasting solution. But nonetheless, this is an extraordinary time. In our history, we have very few moments in time where we sit down, major powers, to negotiate peace, and we hope that this is the beginning.
Seems like the
end of the whole thing.
Seems like the 80s all over again.
Well, and it seems like
look,
both sides are getting their asses handed to them. I mean, this isn't that. I think that's why this is a little bit harder than Gaza and Israel. I mean, that Hamas needs to be eradicated. That's going to be very challenging. That's a whole different dynamic, in my opinion. This is a dumb war that neither side is winning, and there is no end in sight. So somebody needs to be able to sit down with them and say, you both are ruining yourselves. This is dumb. Don't do this. There's going to have to be a mediator there, because right now it's just ego, in my opinion.
Hang tight. We have a lot of stuff to talk about in this country, including rewriting congressional district lines in Texas, California, and here in Missouri. We have former state senators John Lamping and Jeff Smith on our roundtable panel. Jane Duker as well. We're coming back with more.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good afternoon. Okay, it's a Friday afternoon. This morning wasn't bad, but the afternoon, you never know. And we had a little bit of rain downtown and to the south, so just be careful through there. There appears to be some slow-moving traffic coming off of the McKinley Bridge this afternoon, and that's westbound. But if you are headed out of downtown on 70, it looks fine. Where you run into some volume is Lake St. Louis Boulevard out through the 70 split. 6440 is lined up Hampton out through McCausland. And eastbound, there's a little bit of volume through Chesterfield Valley and at Timberlake Manor. We had an accident reported westbound just past Highway N. Some slow-moving traffic there. And southbound 270, some moderate volume at Olive. 55, some moderate volume headed down toward Bates in that area. And an accident on the Illinois side, eastbound 64, just west of 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I talk about the Missouri Athletic Club quite a bit, and sometimes we focus on the Charitable Society for Children. The mission there is to provide financial assistance and support to several children's charities in the area. And this year, those charities are Books for STL Kids. They provide new books to kids and families that are under-resourced. The Butterfly Kisses Alliance, which provides kits resources and support to families who experience pregnancy loss or the death of a newborn. And then KidSmart. KidSmart is really in the moment right now. I'm going to fill you in on something you can do this weekend. They provide essential tools for learning, school supplies, and new books for kids and teachers who are serving under-resourced areas. And this weekend at the West location out near Manchester and 270, we're trying to fill up the bus with school supplies for KidSmart. There's a wish list that's up on the website. You can always donate financially to one of the organizations. There are 3 that are picked each year. We also have a nominating process that's going on already for 2026. But for those of you who live west, or you go to the West location maybe as much as I do, the wish list is on an email that you should have received. You can always go to the website, mac-stl.org, to find out more for the Missouri Athletic Club.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Like I said before, tariffs had absolutely zero effect on our equipment pricing. No manufacturer raised their prices. What has affected the pricing is the previous 4 years of these ridiculous mandates. I mean, I say ridiculous, it's shameful. But that being said, if you're told that you need a new system, or your air conditioner is bad, or you're looking to replace your system, if you want a common sense approach which works for you, your family, and your budget. When I say your budget, it never is what you want it to be on this equipment, but common sense approach, 15-20 minutes of your time, and explain to you your options. No Kool-Aid being handed out. I'm Bart Inman. It's Bart with a B, Inman with an I. The easiest way to get a hold of me with the easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, there's only one, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. Fantastic deal. God bless.
He's not here to play nice. He's here to make you think. Mark Reardon on 97.1 FM Talk.
The Reardon Roundtable for Friday. We have former state senators Jeff Smith and John Lamping on the panel. Jane is here as well. She's going to hang out for the 4 o'clock hour. It looks like, I think the latest information on the Democrats that fled Texas is they're going to come back on Monday. The gerrymandering is going to occur. They're going to rewrite these, congressional lines. And then here in Missouri, we have our own battle brewing over that. That is, I think, in both situations being pushed forward by President Trump. Jeff Smith, I'm going to start with you on this one. And I've admitted the last week or so that I have, some conflicting thoughts about the redrawing of lines, especially here in Missouri, where we just did this a couple of years ago. But then I look at the maps from Illinois and California and some of these other states. They all do it, no matter who's in control, right? I don't think you can deny that. So Texas is a little bit of a different situation, obviously, because of the narrow majority that Republicans have in the House. President Trump is interested in making sure that maybe there's less risk for the midterm elections in 2026. There were people in the Freedom Caucus and beyond here in Missouri that wanted the drawn lines to be more of a 7-1 favoring Republicans. That did not happen in the end. They're trying to do it again. And Mike Kehoe, the governor, is going to call a special session in all likelihood to do this, right?
Yeah, I think he is. I want to just address the kind of conflation of two different things that I hear a lot, and I just heard it, which is, yes, other states gerrymander. Blue states, red states, they all gerrymander. But what's happening here and what makes what's happening right now different around the country is that it's happening in the middle of the decade.
Right.
It's extraordinary.
Well, not even in the middle. Yeah, I guess it is the middle of the decade. I'm not good at math.
What was always done, for centuries was to wait for the decennial census, and then the lines are redrawn after the census, and they last for 10 years. And that gives some sense of stability and continuity for voters and who their representatives are. To just willy-nilly do it in the middle of the decade, it started with Tom DeLay when he was the House Majority Leader from Texas, and he had them do it in 2003, basically because they had the power. And that's kind of what's happening now in Texas. Trump basically, I think it's rooted in the fact that he wants to keep a majority of the U.S. House. He doesn't want to be investigated, certainly doesn't want to be impeached again. And he has said if there are red states, like Texas, that are in control of everything, and we could pick up several seats, maybe as many as 5 in Texas, go and redraw the lines in the middle of the decade. I don't care about tradition, just do it. And unfortunately, Missouri is going to be caught up in that because there's one district in Kansas City that is a Democratic district now that could be redrawn to be a Republican leaning district. And that's probably what's going to happen. California, led by Gavin Newsom, is going to, they're going to retaliate, and say, hey, if we're not going to do this first, but if you do it, we're not going to let you just keep punching us in the face and turning the other cheek. We're going to hit back and redistrict and probably get as many Democratic districts created as you take from us. So, I think it's actually unified Democrats around the country who are saying, we're not out there. We believe in nonpartisan redistricting processes, and we're not for gerrymandering, but we're not going to keep getting walked on.
John.
Well, the Democrats are very much for gerrymandering. It sounds like, according to Jeff, they just want to do it every 10 years and not every 2 or 3. The state of Massachusetts is a bigger state than ours, higher population than ours. And I think it's been, 30 years since they've had even one Republican congressman. So we point to
Peter Tordrickson, I think in the mid 90s.
So it's a 9-0.
Oh, look at that. He even knew the name.
So it's a 9-0.
That's impressive.
Trump's smart. Trump recognizes what's the law, what are the rules. There's no law. The rule is tradition. And with the majority in Congress comes tremendous power, not least of which is the Democrats have already said that they will intend to impeach him the minute that they have the majority in the House, regardless of whether or not he can be found guilty. So this is classic Trump. He understands the rules of the game. He understands where the line can be crossed, and he's crossing the line. I'm really intrigued about our state, and what Jeff just suggested is that if Texas picks up 5, I think California had a hard time picking up more than 5 Ds the way it's gerrymandered now. So maybe, who knows? Maybe Missouri is where the majority lies, and the way that I know Mike really well, Mike Kehoe, and Mike is a deal maker, and he's not an ideologue. He's not comfortable in this type of partisanship. Like he would never want to have the map be 8-0 here. And if you think about it now, we're 6-2, so it's 75% Republican, 25% Democrat, and Mike can live with that because that's kind of, even though the state's 40% Democrat, it's concentrated in the urban areas. So,
but when you're getting a call from Trump, that changes the dynamics, doesn't it?
But it serves a good purpose for him. So Mike, the criticism of Mike is that he's not partisan, that he's not red meat, he's not MAGA, any of those things, and he's not. And if it were up to him, he would never change what is. I mean, he was lieutenant governor when they were redrawing the districts, and he didn't weigh in to go for the 7-1 map. He was so I think it's a gift to him. I think that if he sees this through, Trump will support him, and Jeff could think it's. I mean, I'm talking about his reelection, and I think Mike's reelection and not be challenged in a primary. I think if he delivers this and is perceived as a huge victory for Trump, I think it'll keep Mike's reelection primary free.
So I'll just say 1 month ago today, there are 111, I think, Republicans in the Missouri House. And I think probably 100 of them did not want to do this. There were maybe a dozen that did. And that changed very quickly once the White House got involved, as John said.
That's where it's coming from.
Yeah. But the reason that a lot of them didn't want to do it is because they have priorities, they have bills they file, and they want to pass them. They want conservative policy wins. And they know that Democratic state senators are going to retaliate by filibustering basically every bill next session if they do this extraordinary thing and basically steal this House seat in the middle of the decade, that their stuff is going to die on the vine next session. And so that's, I think, the reason that initially most Republicans in the legislature weren't excited about doing this, and were quoted as saying that in the first couple of days until President Trump made that phone
If I
call.
wasn't excited for a 7-1 nap, what Jeff just describes makes me beyond excited and thrilled. What's coming out of Jefferson City in this first year of Keogh as governor has been god awful and horrible, not least of which is Senate Bill 4, which saw all of our utility rates skyrocket. It hasn't even gone into effect yet. So if what Jeff's saying is right, if nothing passes in Jeff City as a result of the 7-1 map, I think that's bonus. It's bonus.
Jane?
I mean, here's the thing. This is just more escalating. I mean, so this will happen when the Democrats do it, and then there will just be complete chaos. Every time a president is worried about getting a bad midterm, we're going to do this game. And I mean, this has nothing to do with helping anything. It really doesn't. It's just naked power grabbing because he just doesn't want to look bad at midterms. And that's not policy. That's just naked power grabbing, and it has nothing to do with democracy.
Well, but you can't get policy. You can't get effective policy. Look, there's a chance that Congress flips and you don't have the trifecta. In fact, history would dictate that it might. Certainly in the House with the narrow majority. So, in order to get things done and not be a lame duck president after 2 years, this is part of the goal. I'll admit I'm uncomfortable with it because I don't like the timing very much. But then when I look at Illinois and I look at, J.B. Pritzker going on Colbert and trying to make the case that, this is heroic for these Democrats in Texas to come to his sanctuary state. When you look at the map there, even at Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, I'll give some credit to the legacy media last week, kind of calling him out on that. So where I kind of come down is, look, you guys know this. Politics is a blood sport. Yep. It gets dirty and nasty in the sandbox. That's what they're doing right now.
Well, and there will be retaliation. And so, I mean, that just means I agree. I mean, if people don't want stuff done, this is a great way to do it, because, I mean, certainly people are going to say, well, of course the Democrats are going to stand up on this. They're not going to sit down for this, and they shouldn't.
But the courts also have to get involved here, right? This would, if this is redrawn by the legislature, don't they have to approve it, though?
No, he'll be able to do it.
No, I mean, there's no law that prevents them from doing this. There's no Missouri law. There's nothing. There was nothing that says that this has to be triggered by it.
Right.
You have to do one.
Right.
At the census.
At the census, right.
Now, there is an important distinction here. There is a place where the courts may get involved, and that's more broadly the Supreme Court has indicated that they may take another look at the Voting Rights Act.
Absolutely.
And if they do that,
if they take a look at the Voting Rights Act,
all bets are off.
They're going to gut it.
Yeah, all bets are
That's
off.
what I think is going to happen. I think
then
they'll gut it.
And if that happens, we could see 20 states redistrict.
Yeah, and that probably will happen. But
it probably will.
Jane mentioned before, this is how you do good policy. Washington, D.C. it's not about policy anymore. It's just pure power. They haven't passed an actual budget since the late 90s. It's all executive orders and appointments. It's not about policy, sadly. And to look at
governing by press release.
When you look at Massachusetts, I mention this because I have a whole bunch of friends in Massachusetts. They're all very conservative people, and they haven't had a congressman in the whole state for 30 years. And dead silence from amongst Democrats, that's fine. I mean, it's one thing. In Illinois is 82-18.
You would have to gerrymander the crap out of Massachusetts to create a Republican district, because there's no part of Massachusetts that's overwhelmingly Republican. So you would actually have to gerrymander. I've looked at Massachusetts pretty closely, and you would have to draw a crazy looking district to create
like the one that they drew in Illinois. You got crazy looking districts out there.
I agree with you. It would be quite the salamander, which is the roots of gerrymandering.
Exactly.
And but nonetheless, there's dead silence. And look, the Voting Rights Act is probably going to get thrown out. With that, for your listeners, that's that you have to have a certain.
They're going to gut it. They're not going to come back and say we're going to protect Emmanuel Cleaver.
When you draw districts, you have to have a certain amount
and if you look at race at all, that's illegal. That's what they're going to say.
And that's how we're going to get Missouri.
Working toward it.
That's how we get Missouri to 8-0.
Yes.
All right, hang tight. It's the Reardon Roundtable on a Friday. John Lamping, Jeff Smith, Jane Duker. We're coming back.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, it's not a bad Friday out there yet, but we do have some volume. If you are westbound on 6440, it's already lined up approaching Hampton out through McCausland, and it's slowing at Highway N, where we had an earlier accident. Eastbound, we've got moderate volume And that's from Clarkson through 270. And again at Big Bend, southbound 270. It's moderate volume, but it's slowing at 70. And then from, looks like it's Dorset now, down through Ladue Road, northbound slowing at 64. And there is some volume southbound 55, mainly headed for Bates. On the Illinois side, 64 eastbound slowing 157 through 159. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
This portion of the show at 3:33 is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
From barbecues to baseball fields. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
The Reardon Roundtable on a Friday afternoon. Jay Duker hanging out with us here in the studio. Former state senators John Lamping and Jeff Smith. The president went into Washington, D.C. and had the National Guard make a presence. They've been trying to, make some arrests here the past few nights. This is a limited engagement for 30 days, could be extended. Why are Democrats, Jane, so opposed to reducing crime? Why do you love criminals so much?
You're talking to the wrong Democrat.
I know, that's probably true.
Sorry, but you're talking to the wrong Democrat, because I'm like, okay, when will we get some help in St. Louis? It's a good issue for Republicans. I mean, that's the bottom. I don't care what party
the polling
you are.
really does show
the
that.
Polling shows.
Harry Enton's been on CNN saying, "Look, guys, you guys don't realize how important this is."
I mean,
and even Democrats have had to be a little vocal in the past few days.
They want to
saying,
not die.
Right.
Okay. People don't want to be shot. Like Prop P passed in every Prop P to fund police in the city passed every North Side ward, every single one. So, I mean, the progressives. The radical progressives, again, are drawing a line that's going to hurt Democrats. It just is. And so every time they say we're going to fight against, tamping down crime, it further dilutes their power as a political party. I don't know when we became the party of crime, but we seem to be liking criminals more than we like everybody else.
It's going to be interesting to watch to what extent this is successful and can be measured as successful. And it becomes kind of the test case for the next 5 or 10 cities around the country who might be interested in a similar type of policing action.
Oh, I mean, we need to clean up here. I mean, it's not even.
But I mean,
I
think that's a possibility.
Well, what I think is a very good, indicator is when you have the city of St. Louis throw out to Tashara Jones in large part because of crime and her defund the police. I mean, that right there is an indicator what people think is working and isn't working. And I think people they're smarter than you think. And they realize, and I think that it's going to hurt Megan Green. I think Megan Green is very vulnerable if you have a good candidate because of her defund the police.
Well, maybe by the
stance.
time it gets to St. Louis, they'll embrace it.
I'm hoping. I don't have a lot of faith.
I don't think people in St. Louis City are going to embrace Donald Trump's,
not today,
not today,
invasion,
masked ICE agents coming in, without uniforms and snatching people. Look, I think you guys have a good point, which is that people generally support the cops. And one thing I learned, in a district,
they didn't always trust me
in a district that I represented that was about 60% black and about 35% white, is that the two things that most people wanted were the exact same in Walnut Park in Northwest St. Louis and in St. Louis Hills in Southwest St. Louis. Two neighborhoods that didn't look a lot like each other, and one was almost all black and one was almost all white. And they both wanted more cops on their street and better schools.
It's
same two things.
And housing.
But
those are the three.
But they did not. They will not be clamoring for Donald Trump's agents to be who aren't from these neighborhoods, don't know these neighborhoods, don't have any experience to come into other cities. I don't think it accomplished anything in Los Angeles, and I don't think it will accomplish anything if he does this all over the country, except as a political stunt to distract from things that he wants people not to pay attention to, like the Epstein files.
Okay, let's. I'm so glad you brought that up because, John, respond to the whole Epstein file thing. First of all, I don't give a rip, and I think a lot of people don't give a rip. I mean, I think we've known that there was a relationship there. He knew Epstein, he was there. But what that's their go-to line. The talking point here is that everything Trump's doing is just to distract from those headlines, the Epstein files.
Well, he's got to get his butt out of that problem.
Well, that's the line. With respect to the crime program in D.C., if it's successful and other cities embrace it, I think that eventually St. Louis will come around, because if it works, right? But no, there's certain things that Trump says that bother me and bother lots of other people that share similar political views. And one is the Epstein file. The Epstein file should be litigated, as far as I'm concerned. I think there's tremendous, some evil things have gone on around Epstein. I think that
Diddy, that all needs to come out too.
And I think the vaccine, which we know for sure now was just a gene therapy experiment that has caused tremendous damage, and it's leaking out bit by bit. We're understanding now that the COVID vaccine caused more harm than it did good. And Trump can't help himself to talk about, warp speed and how it came to, and those are the two things that are like third rail for him amongst the Republican, the hard right Republicans.
In other words, on the warp speed, he's not backing down from the claims to success.
Every time he talks about it, we all shake our head,
right.
But we'll take that with all the other stuff, and he doesn't have to run for re-election, probably not. And so I think it's just not working. I mean, if you solve for crime in DC and the next city raises their hand and says, come help us out, and you solve crime there, it's not going to be, but this is just to hide Epstein. Like, it's not going to work.
But is there,
well, that's the problem, because they don't have this is why I think it fails, is you can crab about the federal, feds coming in, but you don't have a plan. Okay, so when are you going to step up and hire the 200 or 300 officers that we need to hire? Okay, I mean, that's where I think that this definitely becomes a problem for Democrats, because you can complain about Trump coming in, but you had no plan. You've done absolutely nothing has been done by the city of St. Louis to lower crime. That's just reality. And you close the workhouse. Now we have more budget money going to ankle bracelets. We're going to have another Janae Edmondson before you can even say anything, because everybody's going to have to go on an ankle bracelet because they shut down the workhouse, and the downtown jail is a fourth world horrible constitutional violation standing. So, I mean, we have not got the criminal justice. We have children carjackers getting out and carjacking within 24 hours.
Day, right. Now,
okay?
A lot of this is crossover to what they're dealing with in D.C. It really is. I mean, I've heard so many stories. I had a guest yesterday.
We have to redo the point system, okay? I mean,
I talked to Tim Fitch about that yesterday. Yes.
If you're a juvenile and you commit a crime with a gun, you are not going home to your parents.
Yeah, the 7 deadly sins.
That's it. Yep. That's the prosecutor in St. Louis County has no trouble saying that. You commit a crime with a gun, you're going to jail. It's a real easy rule, and the criminals will eventually get it if you actually enforce that. But we don't have the ability to enforce that in the city of St. Louis because we don't have a place to put these people. Now, nobody complained when the feds came in and started prosecuting, to take care of Kim Gardner's problem. And that wasn't looking as it looked like a takeover. I mean, the bottom line is either you're going to fix crime or you're not. Decide. It's
on
not
the
that
point. I was a little
complicated.
confused too when I was talking to Chief Fitz, who was on the roundtable a week ago. But on the point system, who has to change it? It's not the
court.
legislature. It's
The court.
this group that sort of oversees it,
Yes,
right?
the court. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think that you can say that the legislature has no role. And if the courts don't do it, I guarantee you that someone is going to try something. And, we went through this whole thing where we've decided the criminals were more important than society. And so these kids, I mean, we're just getting cases of it. I mean, that carjacking is explained exactly what the problem is. We have a juvenile crime crisis in this city, and there is nothing changing.
No, it's not. And I'm disappointed too by the fact that the legislature people need to understand the way the legislature looks at the map is they look at like west of Missouri River in St. Charles County and then all the way to Jackson County. And then up and down, the north and south. The Republicans in the control. They just want to placate whatever's going on in the city and the county, as long as you don't complain too loud, or maybe it's a campaign issue like the police plan.
Mm-hmm.
But they really don't want to get their fingers dirty at all. They don't want to roll up their
because they don't want to take care of the cities any more than they want the Democrats to do it.
And that's where but Trump, it's interesting though. Think about this. If Trump nationalizes this DC program and comes and offers it to other cities, and I think he most certainly will, I mean, he's doing what the Republicans in Missouri should be doing. Same thing with the 7-1 map. If you leave it to the Republicans in Missouri, it's a 6-2 map. Leave it to the Republicans in Missouri, nothing's solved for in the cities. And here's Trump saying, no, 7-1 map. No. We can't let cities continue to deteriorate. I mean, this guy's president for lots of different people, not least of which is the poor inner city DC African-American community.
If you look at the polling was really stunning from DC. I mean, if you combine the people who are, and a lot of this came from African-American support and African-American women in particular, combine the number of people who are concerned or seriously concerned about crime, it's like 91%, that's a pretty unheard of number.
You go to any urban area and you're going to get the same statistics. You are. And
you go to a lot of rural areas and you're going to get similar statistics because crime rose a lot for many years in the 2010s in rural areas as well.
It has.
And you see a lot of
it's mostly drug crime though. It's not street crime. It's not your tourists getting.
It's not
run
random
over.
crime.
It's not random
right.
crime.
Right. We still have a random crime problem.
Who knows? Maybe we need to get Megan Green Trump's phone number. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, you know what? I mean, she has to go. I mean, if we have any hope of changing it in the city, Megan has to go.
I want to lift up a comment from one of your commenters.
Okay, sure.
Online.
That's on the YouTube or the Twitter feed.
One of the most ridiculous and asinine things I've ever heard in my life.
I didn't even know you had access to that.
No, it's fine. I can see it right here.
Okay, what does it say?
Leftists so low when bringing up Epstein, it'll catch more Dems than it will Republicans. Number one, we're not the ones who spent the entire 2024 bringing up Epstein. It was the right. It wasn't us. Okay. So I want to start with that. Right. And
by the way, I'm the outlier on that. I don't, you know what? I think whatever he did and whatever he's guilty of, and obviously he's not on the planet anymore.
I think children were harmed.
There's no doubt. No. There's no doubt about that. I'm talking about the focus on the files and whatever is going to be related to Trump.
Well,
I think there's a hyper focus on that. But go ahead.
Well, and that's the second part is just this assumption, well, it's going to catch more Dem. I don't give a shit who it catches. I want it to catch jail. Anybody who harmed a child should go and pay the price for that.
Well, Taibbi at Rolling Stone magazine in 2003 wrote an article about the Lolita Express featuring Bill Clinton and his 23 different trips on the plane. So it's a lot of very powerful people that will go down.
And anybody of either party that engaged in that should pay the price.
They are stuck with what they
did. You mean like the Catholic priest did?
Exactly.
No, I was being sarcastic because they just got shuffled around to a different archdiocese.
You know what? Well, I was going to say the archdiocese is as secret as the federal government.
You might be right about that.
So, I mean, is that what you want?
Hang tight. One more segment of the Roundtable coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads, we've had a couple of issues, but this could be a lot worse. If you are headed into Illinois, we're fine on the bridges. 64 eastbound, though, slow 157 to almost 159. And northbound 5570, there's an accident past 157. That's causing a delay. Back on the Missouri side, it's mainly moderate volume. Northbound 170 at 70, southbound at 64, westbound 6440. That's not bad. It's Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound slowing at 270 and at 170. But westbound lines up headed for Highway N. That's where we had an earlier accident and some moderate volume all the way out through 70. 70 out of downtown isn't bad. It's a little bit slow right at Highway K, and then it bunches up again, headed for Highway A. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Barron Mirror Glass and Door, simply the finest when it comes to mirror glass and shower doors. You can't find better quality, prices, or service than at Barron Mirror Glass and Door. They have the basics all the way up to the elite. Barron Mirror Glass and Door can't be beat. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Scott Jennings here. I'm excited to be part of the St. Louis conservative conversation, cutting through the noise with unfiltered common sense. Catch the Scott Jennings Show weekdays at 8 p.m. starting August 25th on 97.1 FM Talk.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com, and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago Senator Dick Durbin. And now Dick Durbin has a new scheme, a government takeover of your credit card. Today, consumers have thousands of choices in credit cards, all with equal, strong security. But Durbin's plan is less competition and less security. And that means more risk for your credit and your identity. Tell Republicans in Congress, stop Dick Durbin's takeover of your credit card before it's too late.
Paid for by Electronic Payments Coalition.
Bold conversations, no apologies. The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
All right, it's Reardon Roundtable on a Friday. Jeff Smith, John Lamping, Jane Duker, all on the panel. I did not have this one on the original list, but I think we can all relate to this. So there's been this, I guess they've taken a look and they've done an audit of the U.S. Postal Service here in St. Louis. Sam Graves, who represents one of the districts toward the other side of the state, I think it's the 6th district in Missouri, says, I've been saying that the St. Louis Processing and Delivery Center was a black hole and mail went there to die, but it turns out that was an understatement. Following repeated calls for an investigation into the mail issues there from me and my colleagues in Missouri and Illinois, the USPS office and the Inspector General released their findings from the audit they conducted over the last 3 months. In just 2 days in June, almost 2.6 million pieces of mail were delayed. If that wasn't bad enough, they only reported about 1.5 million pieces as delayed. They weren't even reporting the missed mail correctly. On top of that, over 50% of all outbound mail trips from the St. Louis processing facility from May 24 to April 25 were late or canceled. Local carriers can't deliver the mail if it doesn't get to them. That's completely unacceptable. Those of us in the room have all had issues. I've had issues with the USPS. I don't know what something needs to change. First of all, I don't think we need mail delivery 6 days a week. Personally, I think we could limit it to a few days a week. Some people might not like that, but look, this thing is a black hole. And this audit that came down, and I don't know how many of you looked into this. It's just a disaster, and that's hemorrhaging taxpayer money and trust. People don't trust it. We've had a couple of situations. I had a package I sent from here that was supposed to be in Minneapolis. It took 5 weeks for it to get there. It was stuck. We knew exactly where it was, up in Florissant, but they had so much of a backup, and I think there was some sort of contamination at that time they were trying to clean up as well. But what are the answers to clear up the United States Postal Service? Anyone got any ideas there?
I mean, it needs a complete management rehaul. I mean, I agree. Like, they're having the same debate in the city over the recycling. The recycling is not working. Okay, it's just not, and it's causing taxpayers.
Well,
by the way, that's a good move by Kara Spencer today.
It was a good move.
Yeah.
But then you heard I mean, I just take 5 minutes to go listen to the hearing yesterday at the Board of Aldermen when the nonprofit environmental industrial complex came to the hearing and was like, this is a basic service of life and you have to do this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, okay, I have an idea. Why don't these nonprofits provide the service then? Because taxpayers are getting ripped off and we need to stop ripping them off. And they have no ideas on how you're going to get people to properly not contaminate the recycling before. So
just to be clear, I want to make sure people are aware of this.
$millions.
Like Sue still lives in the city. When I lived in the city, you have in your alleys, you have the trash dumpster and the recycling.
That's going away.
Basically, they said, I mean, I think the curbside recycling is still going to stay in place if you live in an area that has that. But the dirty little secret, literally, is that the stuff that you're putting in there really isn't being recycled anyway. It's just a complete waste of money.
Well, that's true.
And
yeah,
you feel good about it.
Yeah, well, that's all it was.
It's all virtue signaling.
It is.
And here's the problem. They pay 5 times more for the recycled stuff. And so
then I think there's
to
going to hire the right lobbyists to get that contract back. You're making 5 times the money. I mean,
it's insane.
And
so I mean, I agree with the mayor that we're not doing this anymore because this is hurting taxpayers. We're not getting the benefit of the program, and we ought not be doing programs that don't work.
I give her credit.
And cause the loss of taxpayer dollars. But just listen to this hearing. I mean, that is everything that's wrong with the city is these fools coming up and saying this is like a fundamental right. Like not living is not a fundamental right. Recycling is the most fundamental service in the city of St. Louis.
The post office thing it's a big deal. I mean, the country's embraced mail-in voting for one, so that needs to be solved for. And if you go across the rural communities, they're not worried about their NPR and PBS, that funding getting cut. Rural communities don't need that, but they do like and appreciate the post offices. And so it's not like this is going to go away anytime soon. And I think Sam Graves actually is the chair of the Commerce Committee. So I'm assuming this kind of falls under Sam, right?
Yeah.
So hopefully it gets some attention that it
I mean, I know that rural
needs.
people like their post offices, but it's not providing the service. It really isn't. I mean, I agree with you. There has to be fundamental
Well, again,
change.
it's not the carriers. We're not criticizing the carriers out there because it's not their fault. Jeff.
Yeah, a few things quickly. Number one, like Newt Gingrich had a very brilliant insight in the mid-1990s, and he went after government. He was ruthless about just kind of lambasting government because he realized that if people's trust in government is eroded for any reason, then it was going to help the Republican Party by tagging the Democrats as the party of government, right? So it's incumbent upon Democrats, if we want to be a party that believes that government can be a constructive force in people's lives, we have to run it well. And one of the things I wrote in the wake of the 2024 election was that if Democrats in Missouri want to ever come close to getting a majority again, then we have to make the 2 best governed places in Missouri, St. Louis and Kansas City, so that Missouri Republicans can no longer point to dysfunction like a Kim Gardner or like the current sheriff as indicative of blue state, blue city governance. We have to do it really well.
Ding, 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 ding. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
There you go.
Well, and you've got this new mayor coming in New York with we won't be able to leverage that at all for any kind of votes.
Yeah. I'm so happy about that because I'm still disappointed we lost Cori Bush because she was the gift that kept on giving.
No, but don't worry, she might come back.
And Jeff, I have to get your opinion because this is great, and we don't have time really to get into the big broad brush of national politics. And J.B. Pritzker already kind of carving out his lane, and whoever else is going to run. But the Democrat Socialists of America had a conference in Chicago last week, and they sent a pretty strong message. I had Jessica Kotescu on the show from the Free Beacon who attended the conference, and the message was that this is what we want. That Donnie's surprise win is not an anomaly. This is what Democrats want in the Democrat Party, to have a focus on some of the freebies and the nonsense that he's about. But this is my favorite part. To go to this conference, it required a ticket of $225, party membership, and then attendees were also required to submit proof of a negative COVID test prior to arrival. That was last week. I had to look at the date. I thought I was looking at something that was in August of 2021. No. It was August of 2025.
Did they all wear
You guys
masks?
are still they probably did. Come on, Jeff Smith. That's another gift that keeps on giving.
Look, I was on oxygen.
No, I know
with-
you
with-
had
with
you had
COVID,
it
and
pretty
so
bad
I-
for
I-
when
yeah,
the
I had-
first strain.
Yeah, and I don't walk around, eschewing any place where people aren't tested or and I don't, walk around in a mask. But as somebody who was hospitalized and on oxygen for it, I get why some people would feel that way. But I think we've moved on, and where we are is if you're somebody who's immunocompromised or you're somebody who feels in danger, then you probably shouldn't be at a huge conference like that. So
There you go. Jeff Smith, thanks for coming in on this Friday. Great to see you. John Lamping, awesome to visit with you as well. Jane, you're going to hang out in the next hour.
Yes.
All right, we'll have a little fun with Paul Hall on entertainment and also with Cusumano on sports. It's all coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not a bad commute, but westbound 70, a little slow at Jennings Station Road. And again, out at Highway A, 64 moderate volume right at Hampton, a little bit at 270, and that's in both directions. Then it lines up, and this is in pockets, but it goes from Winghaven out through the 70 split. Southbound 270, not bad, but some volume from Olive down through Ladue Road, and northbound slowing at 40. But on the Illinois side, there was an accident. First of all, we're fine on the bridges eastbound, but there was an accident on 5570 northbound past 157, and that caused a delay, and 64 eastbound is slow near 158. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. It is 3:56 at 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Maybe this is a good weekend for you to shop for some flooring at one of the 3 great locations that Michael's Flooring Outlet has here in St. Louis. Mike Reynolds and the team are ready for you. They have a ton of experience. They have folks that have worked in this industry for decades that can guide you into the right products for your particular lifestyle and situation and price point as well. If you go to the website, it really has everything that you could ever want. The promos are up there. You can order 3 free samples using the code 3FREE on the website right now. There's a bunch of reviews up there. You can apply for financing, get inspiration by uploading pictures of your decor and matching it up with some of the flooring. I can tell you, though, there's no better thing to do when you're trying to figure out the next flooring project than to go into one of the stores and have one of the pros at Michael's. He's got a great team, got to guide you through the array of products. And there are so many. It can be a little overwhelming. That's why, even though the website is great, being there in person and telling the team exactly what you're looking for, whether you have pets or kids, that may change the type of carpeting or the type of hard flooring that you might need. They'll take great care of you. They're open every day except for Sunday in Old Town St. Peters, in Darden Prairie, in West County on Olive. Again, the website, igotfloor.com from Michael's Flooring Outlet. Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
About the IRS, they tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
This is a Fox News alert. The Trump-Putin summit in Alaska. I'm Lisa Brady. On his way to Anchorage to meet with Russia's president on ending the war in Ukraine, President Trump telling Fox's Bret Baier he wants a ceasefire, while acknowledging that may not happen in the first meeting.
I won't be happy if I walk away without some form of a ceasefire. Now, I say this, and I've said it from the beginning, this is really setting the table today. We're going to have another meeting if things work out, which will be very soon. Or we're not going to have any more meetings at all, maybe ever.
President Trump hoping for a second meeting to include Ukraine's president. He's also not ruling out an economic component in negotiations months after signing a deal for U.S. access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals, many of which are in territory currently occupied by Russia. He has also warned of severe economic consequences for Russia if there's no progress.
The president believes economic pressure brought Putin to the table, telling reporters aboard Air Force One the Russians want a piece of the economy he's built.
Fox's Jared Halpern traveling with the president. President Trump also says territorial decisions are up to President Zelensky and that his goal is saving lives. The two leaders were not meeting one-on-one, at least not initially. Two other top officials on either side in the first meeting, including Secretary of State Rubio and Special Envoy Witkoff, and even more at a lunch meeting. A tug of war between states angling for an edge in next year's midterm elections. A day after California's Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom said he wants to send redrawn congressional maps to voters this November.
It's a joke. He's posturing for the presidency and doing nothing more than that. He's all talk and no action.
That's Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott, who called a second special session today in an ongoing fight with Democrats in the Texas legislature, who left the state to block a vote on redistricting aimed at helping Republicans. America is listening to Fox News.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big Three this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big Three. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Temperatures slowly falling out of the 90s for any evening plans. There's been one or two stray thunderstorms. They completely fall apart with the setting sun. Most of us not seeing anything, but where they've popped, there's been some heavy downpours of rain. Overall, clear skies, 75 for the low. Saturday, sunny, hot, and humid, 99. 78 Saturday night and Sunday, sunny, hot, and humid, 99. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid members. If you need assistance with daily living, you can receive a free service from Freedom Care in your own home from a loved one who lives with you. With Freedom Care, you decide who provides your daily care, helping you with preparing meals, bathing, laundry, transportation, and more. A family member or friend that gets paid weekly. This Medicaid program is available to eligible St. Louis residents. New to Medicaid? The Freedom Care family will guide you through enrollment, making it stress-free for patients and caregivers. With over 7,000 5-star Google reviews, we've perfected at-home care for Medicaid members and caregivers. If you live in the St. Louis area, this service is available through Medicaid, and with our InstaPay app, caregivers can choose to get paid weekly. So go to freedomcare.com now, or for faster service, call 314-697-4912, 314-697-4912. That's 314-697-4912.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
right, welcome back. Second hour of the show on this Friday afternoon. As we take you into the weekend, we'll have a Friday edition of Sue's News momentarily in just a couple of minutes. Fred has joined us in the studio after the roundtable. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How about Fred Bottenheimer over there, ladies and gentlemen?
Did you see, Fred, did you see what happened? Oh, Jane's here as well. Sorry, I didn't mean to,
Yeah, I did see it, and I loved it. Can we hear it?
Yeah, this is so Putin and Trump are on the tarmac walking together. And I'm guessing, when you hear Putin, I don't really remember hearing Putin speak in English very much at all. Do you?
No.
But he has to be somewhat fluent because they're sitting there either that or Trump knows Russian because they're sitting up chatting it up on the red carpet.
Yeah,
right?
the red carpet. They're talking back and forth like they know what they're saying.
Right. So maybe I just would assume that Putin has some grasp of the English language more than Trump might have of Russian.
I
don't know. But so what happened is they did this. They're showing this on Fox right now. There's a bunch of was it F-22s and then stealth bombers flying by. Here, listen. Like total show of force right over the skies when they're shaking hands in Anchorage. So that was pretty good. Now I guess this is somewhat good news that they haven't walked out of this right now. Trump is going to do an interview with Hannity tonight. But Fred, you and I were talking about this before the show because we may cut away and go to the live coverage if he comes out and there's some news. And, Trump's not risk averse to going before the cameras. And we know what happened with Zelensky. We don't have that type of moment where they're sitting together. But this could be kind of interesting. They've been in the meeting for like an hour now at this point?
Yeah. And going into the meeting, the Russians said it could be an 8-hour meeting. But I kind of doubt that President Trump would put up with 8 hours of meetings. And it's a 3-on-3, these meetings right now, 3-on-3.
What does that mean?
It's President Trump and Rubio and Stephen Witkoff are the 3 Americans that are together.
Okay.
And it's Putin and I guess 2 other Russians that are meeting. And this is 3-on-3 right now.
Does Putin have his shirt
like
on? Do we know if Putin's topless or does he have his shirt on? Right.
Don't know anything yet.
It does kind of sound like basketball. But the other thing that the president's been making clear, and he talked about this with Brett Baer, is this is sort of the first step.
Okay, in the office with President Trump on Air Force One, heading in. What's your initial feeling? How are you feeling about what you're going to get out of this?
I think we're going to do very well. Our country is doing very well. We're setting records economically like we never have before, including the stock markets are all at a record high. We're taking in trillions and trillions of dollars with tariffs. We're going for a meeting with President Putin in Alaska, and I think it's going to work out very well. And if it doesn't, I'm going to head back home real fast.
I mean, if it doesn't, you walk.
I would walk there.
Which one, Fred? You're giving me hand signals.
Yeah, I was telling you the next one is really good with the 2 of them.
What is that one labeled?
It's the one that should be right after
it. There is not one right
Trump
after it.
with Baer.
Okay, the one that was right before the meeting, right? Yeah, here we go.
What are your expectations? I mean, is the goal of this meeting in Alaska to walk away with a ceasefire?
So when you talk about deals, it's all I do. My whole life, I do deals. You never know. You don't like to have too many expectations. You want it because you have to weave and bob, and you don't know what's going to happen. But we're going to go and find out. I'd like to see a ceasefire. I wouldn't be thrilled if I didn't get it, but everyone says you're not going to get the ceasefire. It'll take place on the second meeting. The second meeting is going to be but I'm not going to be happy with that. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to be, I won't be happy if I walk away without some form of a ceasefire. Now, I say this, and I've said it from the beginning, this is really setting the table today. We're going to have another meeting if things work out, which will be very soon. Or we're not going to have any more meetings at all, maybe ever.
So that's such a Trump thing, right? To say maybe ever. I'm seeing some video where they're just kind of sitting next to one another and a table is between them. And I don't know if this is Fred. When did that take place?
I don't know. That must have been right at the very beginning.
Yeah, maybe it was. They let some camera
just photo
access
ops
in there. But we'll continue to cover that. And there is a chance that throughout the course of the next, 2 hours, we may go to the live news conference if there is one. And then he's going to do one tonight on Hannity when this thing is over. If it's less than 8 hours, I mean, if it goes
Right.
long or something like that, they may have to reschedule that. Paul Hall will be coming up here on entertainment after Sue's News. We got a couple of things in the theaters, including Bob Odenkirk in Nobody 2. That first movie, Nobody, was a lot of fun. I'm hearing not the best things about the sequel, which is sometimes, very common. Jane, did you ever get out to see Superman?
No.
Fred, did you?
No.
Okay, so it's on premium demand now, which means you got to pay for it maybe $20 or $30. But I didn't see it either. I saw Fantastic Four in the theaters, and I'm the outlier on that. I did not like it at all, but I really wanted to see Superman like on the IMAX and never got to do it. But you can spend the money and get that. Paul will fill us in. There's some shows that are streaming as well. I've been catching up on some stuff. The finale of the show Smoke on Apple TV Plus is coming up as well. Hey, Brian Kilmeade was posting on his Instagram page a short time ago a new puppy. Brian's a big dog guy. He's talked about it on the radio and TV quite a bit. I've shared some stories with Brian. Now, we lost a dog in the spring, and we went right into puppy land with Max, who is a Siberian Husky and lab mix, and there's a little pit bull. And this dog that Brian got looks like a Burmese mountain dog, doesn't it? Because I showed you guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Bear is his name, and he's big. He looks really big. My puppy is getting very big. We had to take a step up yesterday. The new crate was put into Alexa's room. Alexa's had the puppy in her room, and we had to take a step up in crate because he was getting so big.
Oh, bless his
So
heart.
that is, and Jane, you got to see him again because you haven't seen him. Both of you have not seen him in a few weeks.
I
And
know.
He's really
adorable.
big. Now, you guys know I have Oreo, the bunny as well, and you can always follow Oreo on Instagram at OreoSmorioTheBunny.com. I think it's like 5 million, followers at this point. That he
A
has
bazillion, I think.
something around that. No, I mean, my checks from Instagram because of Oreo eclipse my salary tenfold here at 97.1. I just do this radio show because I'm having fun. But so the deal with Oreo is, and this is weird. We call it the Reardon Zoo. We have 3 cats, we have 2 dogs, and we have Oreo the bunny. He has a hutch downstairs that's kind of like his condo, right? It's a pretty big hutch. He's got everything in there he needs. It's a 2-level deal. It's pretty fun. It wasn't even that expensive. But I try to put him in there. We try to put him in there at night. Sometimes he's not in there. So if I can't find him, I'm like, okay, you can wander the house, and he doesn't really do any damage. He has access to a litter box. That's the other thing. He's litter trained. Some people don't know this. But 2 nights ago, I put him in the hutch. At least I thought I did. And I shut the doors. And then Becky, when she woke up, she let Max out. She goes downstairs. Usually one of the first things we do is we let Oreo out, and he eats some greens, eats breakfast, and he starts roaming the house. Well, he was already out, but the latches to the hutch were closed. So then there were 2 options. And of course, you know what I do. Jane and Sue in particular would know this. I blame Becky. I'm like, come on, you let that bunny out and then you close the door. You just don't remember it. Then I started second guessing. Well, wait a second. Maybe I thought he was in there and then I shut the door. But you know what happened? It was like a Shawshank Redemption moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, my gosh.
He broke out. So I look at the hutch last night, and
Totally.
in the back of the
Now I
hutch,
love him more.
oh yeah,
Me too.
there is a loose part of the hutch in the back, and there was enough space between that and the wall that he just escaped. And Thin Lizzy knows what happened.
Tonight there's gonna be a jailbreak.
I was just amazed. So I had to kind of close up the back. It did solve a problem because, I mean, I was so confused. There have been times where I put him in the hutch and I've closed the latch, but there's like a top to both sides as well. I don't know if I'm describing it well. It's very long. It's about 10 feet long. And each side of it, you can raise the top to get the litter box out. And then there's the middle part where he goes in. You know, he could just walk in and crawl out. I have left the top open before, and he's jumped out.
Yeah,
right?
he is a rabbit.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they hop.
That's what I've
I
heard.
learned that the hard way about a year and a half ago.
I have a
but I was so
question.
impressed with him that he had gotten the jailbreak moment, and he stayed in there all night last night. So.
I thought he was a cord chewer. Is that inaccurate?
No, he's a cord chewer, but here's the deal. He's pretty much chewed every cord that he can in the house, and the ones that are left, I've had to
cord.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've
He's
had to
cut the cord.
reinforce. No, anything that happens with a cord now, we have to reinforce, and there's little protectors that I can get from Amazon. Yeah, that you should be amazed at how many, and he just slices right through the Apple charging cords like crazy.
And he loves them.
I don't know if he loves them. They just,
delicious.
his teeth go right through them.
Little
It's nuts.
sharp little bunny teeth.
But he was so cute this morning. So my cat Coco and him were just laying right next to one another. Coco was sort of, and I'm a cat person. Cats like to kind of wrestle and then sort of lick each other when they're playing. And he was doing that with Oreo, with the bunny, and Oreo was just playing right back. And and Oreo made some big steps with Max the puppy. They're coexisting right now.
Coexisting. They don't have to be together.
Because people always say that. How do you do that? And they
Animals do it all the
get along.
time.
They get to know. I think Max thinks that Oreo's a cat. That's my guess.
Which is great.
Yes. So then he's not eaten. That's why it's great. He's still alive. Hang on. Sue's News is coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Not not a bad commute right now. If you are leaving downtown, 6440 lines up near Kings Highway. It's really just moderate volume. And then moderate volume west of Winghaven out through 70. 70 looks pretty good until you get to Highway A, some volume there. Eastbound 40 slowing at Mason and at 170. And on the Illinois side, eastbound 64, we had some road work east of 157, and there's a slowdown there. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
Hello, I'm Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malik. August 14th is National Able Savings Day, a time to highlight how able accounts empower individuals with disabilities. Our More Able program helps Missourians save for everyday needs without losing public benefits. To celebrate, we are offering a $25 match for anyone who opens a new account in August. Earnings grow tax-free and contributions qualify for a state tax reduction. Let's help more Missourians build financial independence. Learn more at moreable.com.
Paid for by the Missouri State Treasurer's Office.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
What's the most important thing when it comes to getting your roof replaced? Honesty, because honestly, most of us don't know what it takes to replace a roof. Mark Cox here from my friends at Correll Roofing Company. Curtis Correll is a friend of mine. I've known him for many years. And when he came to my house to look at my roof, he brought back pictures and showed me where the damage was from the hail. He worked with my insurance adjuster. He made sure I understood exactly what they would be replacing on my roof. Are they putting down felt? Are they replacing any wood? What quality of shingle are you getting on your roof? These are all questions most of us don't know to ask, so you need to be able to trust the person who is doing the work for you. You can trust Curtis Correll. He's got crews with over 20 years of experience. He pays attention to detail with quality materials and workmanship. Call him at 314-222-9529. That's 314-222-9529 or Correll Roofing Co. on Facebook.
Do you know what went down at the Viper Room the night River Phoenix died? Are you aware of how Steve McQueen escaped death at the hands of the Manson family? But what about the real-life brutal murder that inspired David Lynch's Twin Peaks? These stories and more are told in the Hollywoodland podcast, where true crime and Tinseltown collide. Follow and listen to Hollywoodland wherever you get your podcasts.
Mark Reardon, Sue Thomas. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
I'm very much looking forward to the baseball game tonight. Fred, I know you're going
Yeah.
as well. This
Yeah,
will
that'd
only
be
be my
great.
second game, which is kind of embarrassing and weird, but my summer was a little different than most summers. So taking the family tonight. Alexa's got a couple of friends that are going to be there as well. It's the Yankees, too, so there's some appeal there. We will not see Paul Goldschmidt. He's injured, so that's unfortunate because he would have gotten one of those rousing ovations. I think the crowd should be, because of the appeal of the Yankees, be just a little bit better.
And it's
this
a bobblehead
weekend.
night.
Oh, yeah, it's like Chris
Carpenter
Carpenter bobblehead night. Yes,
night, so it'd
yes,
be
that's
fun.
right.
Hey, real quick, good news though. He's not starting tonight, but he's available. He just said to media he's going to be available off the bench.
Oh, okay.
So Goldie might end up making an appearance tonight
As a pinch hitter or
Yes,
something along
yeah.
those lines. All right, there you go. Well, that would be nice, just to see him. We loved him, and he's done pretty well, hasn't he?
He's done very well.
Yeah. Well, and I understand the dynamics there, but the Yankees have not done very well. They're the Dodgers and the Yankees with the $300 million payroll, they're both kind of struggling right now, which is interesting. The Cardinals won those two series before the one with the Rockies against the Dodgers and the Cubs. So we'll see if they can get things done this weekend. Frank Cusumano is going to join us at 4:48. Scotty Warmann from FanDuel Sports Midwest. We'll have a little chat with him. One of the things that we want to talk, Ethan, I want you to join me when Scotty's on, because Fred, and Jane and Sue, I don't know if you know this already, but there's already a lot of buildup to the lockout that might happen, not next season, but the following season because of the salary cap. So that's one of the topics that we'll talk about with Scotty Warmann. But let's do this on a Friday afternoon.
These allegations are deeply concerning.
Does the president have any comment?
We're not going to comment. It's not clear messaging.
No.
And now, Sue's News. Brought to you by Sue.
Well, good news. It's National Lemon Meringue Pie Day. I don't really like it. I'd rather have whipped cream than meringue.
Yeah.
Fred, your thoughts?
I'm a no.
I'm a key lime pie.
Oh, I love a key lime.
I'm with
Key
Jane
lime
on
is
that.
better.
Key lime is better for me too.
So much better. But it's National Lemon Meringue Day, and somebody will like it. It's just not
I don't think I
me.
would turn it down, quite honestly.
Oh, I would. I'd turn it down. Yeah. No, thanks.
And 60 years ago today, Mark will play the... in 1965, the Beatles played to a packed Shea Stadium.
Yeah, this was an amazing historical day, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder how many people could even hear the music over the screaming and the little amplifiers. This is well before, amplification in big stadiums took hold for sure. Bob Heil, legend here in St. Louis, had a lot to do with that. But this was a very important day for the Beatles 60 years ago today. It's a great piece I shared it with you, I think in the New York Times today.
Yeah, it
about
was.
this anniversary.
56,000 people saw it. And at the time, it was the largest single crowd to attend a rock and roll show. And of course, the Beatles set was a standard 35 minutes long. That was the standard.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what? But
Wow.
it didn't matter because the music was drowned out by the screams of the teeny boppers. So
And I guess the songs were all like
they were
2.5
short
minutes.
Yeah, they're short songs, right?
But that's
they
kinda
weren't doing Hey
crazy.
Jude in 1965.
No,
right?
no, they were not. Tom Cruise, I found this story today. Tom Cruise reportedly declined to receive a Kennedy Center honor this year because of scheduling conflicts.
Yeah, I don't think he's, this is being
So-
spun out there like he's doing it because of Trump, but I think he legit has something that
well,
conflicts with the appearance.
That's interesting because nobody will talk about it. They called his camp to say, what have you got to say? And they say, well, we don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows,
So
right?
I don't know if it's Trump related or whether he just has an issue somewhere with it, but he's not doing it. All right, we was thinking about music, and I've ran across this story. Okay, I'm going to quiz you guys first.
Okay.
What woman's name is featured in the most song titles? What woman's name featured in the most song titles? Mark Reardon.
Michelle.
Good guess. No.
Jane.
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 No.
Ah,
Fred.
Jane.
Marie.
Oh, close. She's number 3.
Mary.
Number 1 is Mary.
Mary.
Ah,
Mary was
Mary.
my other choice.
Yes.
And I thought it's too obvious.
Here, we've got a little.
Proud mirror, keep on going. Let's dance with Mary Jane. One more time to kill the pain. Mary, if you want it, I'll wave my ride. And the wind cries, Mary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Springsteen's got a song called Mary's Place as
Ah.
well, so I should have maybe guessed that, but there you go. That's
Well,
awesome.
There's no Mary's got a gun.
No, that's true.
There's a Jane's got a gun.
And
Just
there was
saying.
a Jane
and
in that
Starship
song,
too. Jane,
Yeah.
Jane from Starship.
Okay, but it turns out it's a man's name that appears most in song titles. And this is a study that looked at 2 million titles in 2023. Can you guess the man's name?
John.
I was going to
Yes!
say John too. Just
Nice
because it's
job,
kinda
Jane.
obvious.
It is John.
That
That's
makes
what
sense.
appears in the most.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Were you? Were you,
No.
Fred?
Come on, that was an obvious one.
I was going with Fred.
Okay, it's Friday, and I like Fred. We've got science news. Okay, sort of science news. Would you use toothpaste made out of human hair? A study found it coats your teeth to mimic your natural enamel and protects them better.
No.
I mean, it could hit stores within 2 years, but it sounds like they might use wool for the final product.
Or maybe the marketing should be a little different, right?
I mean,
And they say it has the same type of protein as hair. So they're going to try whatever it is. You're right. It does need a better. How are we going to present it to the people? Okay. And in space news, NASA clocked a comet that's zipping through our solar system at 130,000 miles an hour. This makes it the fastest we've ever seen. That's about 36 miles every second.
Okay.
And in AI news, the new version of ChatGPT is facing a ton of backlash. Apparently, a lot of users thinks it's worse than the last version, not better. So OpenAI ended up re-adding the old one as an option after people were just that disgusted with it. I guess it was that bad.
Sort of like New Coke.
Yeah,
in the
that's
old
all
Coke.
right.
Oh,
I
well,
don't
that
really
was a
like it.
disaster.
But
It
you would
was.
think that with something like that, well, you know what? We have George Rosenthal from Throttle Out coming up. Maybe we'll ask him about that, because how could you have something as popular and as successful as that and then take a step backward in the AI world? That doesn't make any
Exactly.
sense.
I thought that was huge, especially that many people complained
Right.
that they had to bring it
Ask
back.
Microsoft.
Oh, that's a good question.
They probably got consulting from Microsoft.
True. Somebody asked Reddit for the craziest excuses they've seen for missing work. I've just picked out a few of them. Number one, a guy didn't show up on Valentine's Day because he thought it was a federal holiday. Now, I can kind of see that because we have some holidays now that you think, wait, we're really okay. I'll take that day off.
Right.
I flushed my car keys down the toilet. I've never done that. Anybody?
No.
Yes.
No.
I don't think many people have, but they use it as an excuse.
Yes. Chipmunks filled my truck's engine with walnuts. Somebody coworker called because she ran out of toilet paper and couldn't leave the house. What? There are other things. Come on, people.
Get creative.
That's right. And my favorite was, I can't go to work because I ate a whole log of cookie dough.
Well, that one's at least honest. I knew a lawyer who had to call in because she got stuck in a doggy door.
Are
A
you kidding
lawyer?
me? Why was she crawling
I don't
through
know.
the doggy door?
I'm just saying that is
Okay.
that happened.
You'd almost
never-
have to believe that one.
I mean, no, yeah, because like
gonna make that up?
Yeah,
Right.
nobody's going to say that
No,
if they didn't.
I just
do
hope
it.
there's pictures
no,
somewhere.
But I mean, it's like, so that makes all those excuses not seem so.
That's
crazy.
true. Oh, how embarrassing. How does one, do you call the fire department?
I think I would've made up a
eventually-
story.
Eventually, you squeeze out.
Oh, I see.
Maybe she got locked out and had to get in the house that way.
Maybe.
Well, that could
one,
be.
One doesn't know. After I heard that, I just stopped listening. I just was like, I don't need to know anymore.
There was a woman who called off work because there was a big bug outside her door, but it turned out later it was a piece of string. Now, one time when I lived in an apartment in Soulard, and I lived on like an upper level and you had to go down the stairs, there was a possum on my front door when I came out really
They're
early
ugly.
to do the morning show, and it was kind of snarvely, and I thought, am I going to get past this? So I crawled out a window and tried
Oh
to
my
get down, and I
goodness.
went through all this
Wow.
rigmarole. I was late. And then, of course, when I'm at the bottom of the stairs, the possum's like, see ya. And there he left.
The little
But
Sue
I didn't know
Thomas
what to do.
Fear of possum story. That's
Well, I thought
interesting.
he might bite me. And finally, in Sue's
Fair.
news, maybe not. I don't know. We have today's random fact. Okay, Will Smith's part in Men in Black was originally offered to David Schwimmer, but he turned it down. And then Will Smith went off to make a bunch of them. And that's it for
And then he
Sue's news.
slapped somebody.
I always
Yeah, he
like
did.
I always like those casting stories because that would be one for me to be very difficult to envision. But
I
I do like
agree.
David Schwimmer. I've seen him in some good roles since Friends. All right, we're coming back with Paul Hall on entertainment.
I'm Chad Robinson with Your Money Now. On Wall Street, stocks were mixed today with the Dow gaining 34 points. The S&P 500 dropped 18 and the Nasdaq was off the pace by 87. Meanwhile, Chicago Federal Reserve President Austin Goolsbee saying today in an interview with CNBC that a mixed bag of inflation data this week, coupled with uncertainty over tariffs, have now given him pause about lowering rates during the Fed's open market meeting next month. Applied Materials shares dropped more than 13% today. Currently, they're up slightly in after-hours trading after the semiconductor equipment maker issued soft guidance as it faces demand pressures in China. The union representing 3,200 St. Louis area Boeing workers wants members of the Missouri congressional delegation on their side for the ongoing labor dispute. Their strike started on August 4th. Crude oil futures for September are falling, but they're above 63 a barrel. That's your money now.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Step outside and fall in love with your backyard again. From inviting porch overhangs to durable composite decks and cozy screen rooms, Lakeside Renovation and Design creates stunning outdoor living spaces designed for relaxation, entertaining, and making memories. With expert craftsmanship and top-quality materials, your new outdoor oasis will be perfect for every season. Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com to get started. Let's turn your backyard into the retreat you've always dreamed of.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been diagnosed with mesothelioma, call us now. $30 billion was set aside for meso victims. And in most cases, your claim is settled out of court without a jury trial. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
4:32. This portion of the show on a Friday is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
Midwest Made. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, every Friday afternoon, right around this time, we visit with my friend Paul Hall from Common Guy Films. He's up in Milwaukee. Where, by the way, Paul, before we get into movies and stuff, the flooding that you guys had last week, I think it was a little undercover nationally, but what was it, like 13 inches of rain in a very short period in some parts in Wauwatosa and other suburbs of Milwaukee? Is that what I understand?
Yeah, in my neck of the woods, it was close to, I think it was 14, and it was over the course of literally a short period of time, like 12 hours or less. So it was coming down so fast. I was out in it. My car was halfway covered, and my basement suffered some damage as well. Some of my old movie stuff is no longer, shall we say.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah. But I found out this great thing, FedEx tubes. This is my ad for FedEx, not endorsed. Some of my posters I had in FedEx tubes downstairs, and the bottom of the tube did not, it repelled the water. And so therefore I had a poster signed by Ellen Arkin that's made it through. I had a poster signed by Anthony Hopkins that made it through.
Cool.
I'm a happy camper. They were in that FedEx tube. So it worked out okay. All things considered. We're digging out, and we're still going to get out of it and come out the other end.
Well, that's good to hear, because some of the video, and I've even seen some videos of the cleanup in, houses that have had all kinds of stuff that, had to be ripped out of the basement, and they're sitting in front of their homes, and many of whom do not have, insurance for some of this stuff, unfortunately. Let's talk entertainment here this weekend. We have this, Is Nobody Out in the Theaters? That's the Bob Odenkirk sequel to that first movie, which I thought was pretty good, by the way.
It's Who I Am, Nobody 2. So, we go one more.
He was so good. Describe this whole phenomenon for Nobody, because it's an action, kind of a silly, stupid action movie, and he plays, I don't want to say a superhero, but he plays a guy that's living kind of a quiet life, but he has a different background, if you will.
Yeah, so I went back and watched the original again. I did like the original when it came out, and it totally caught me off guard. Hutch Mansell is he's kind of an accountant. He just kind of sits there in a business, kind of boring job. He gets robbed, doesn't do anything. His family looks down on him. But the reason he didn't do anything when he got robbed was he knew what his talents were. And well, let's be honest, people don't want to meet Hutch Mansell in the back alley of anywhere because he could take people down all by himself, even if there's 10, 12 people around him. And it was kind of this mixture of action and comedy. So when I went to see the second one this week, that's all I wanted. I definitely wanted to have Hutch back. I wanted him to just kind of beat people up and make me laugh at times. And Nobody 2 definitely delivers on all those aspects. It gets a little corny and over the top as you move towards the end of the film. It's to be expected. The guy's like a superhero, like you said, but he's yet the most ordinary guy you'll ever meet. As he tells officers investigating, he's just nobody. We've got people here that you love. Connie Nielsen plays his wife. Christopher Lloyd is awesome as his dad. I love seeing him on screen doing things. This is a movie, if you like the first one, see it. Sharon Stone here as well. And these guys, actually, this whole thing takes place in Wisconsin. As you mentioned, it's at a water park. Looks eerily familiar to what a Dells water park would be in the Wisconsin Dells, which is kind of a side story where Sharon Stone is kind of the mob boss in the area. I like Nobody 2. If you saw the first one, definitely you've got to get out, see it. If you didn't see the first one, go back and see that one first, so you kind of get what's going on.
I love the first one. It kind of, maybe because I wasn't expecting much out of it, and I love Odenkirk, and it was a different role for him. Jane, do you ever see that movie?
No.
It's just kind of a silly action film. Was it a Netflix? Something that streamed on Netflix? Is when you went back and watched it? Where is it, Paul? Do you know?
I had it in a library that I had over at Prime. So I watched it on Prime. I believe it is up now on, I think it's Peacock, but I could be wrong on that one. It is streaming out there now for free, so you can see it. I don't have that network off the top of my head because, like I said, I put it in my digital library and I pulled it up that way.
Here is a film that opens on Netflix called Night Always Comes.
You know what it means to own a home, don't you, Ken?
Yeah, it's really good.
Know what it means? It means nobody's ever going to come and take you away again. Be my big brother, okay?
Yeah.
Mom, what is that?
It's a car. Bought it.
You're going to spend a whole down payment on a car? Penny's going to be taken away, and I'm going to be out on the street again. Is that what you want?
You want to blame me? Go ahead.
I said film, but is this episodic television? Is this a movie or TV?
Nope. You are correct. It is a film. Okay. It's Vanessa Kirby and Jennifer Jason Leigh are your two main principals here. Vanessa Kirby plays a woman who she's trying to get her mom, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and her brother to move forward in their life. And they're trying to get into a new house. They've got a deal lined up, and mom decides to blow all the money towards the down payment on a new car for herself. It then sets Vanessa Kirby up on this night of terror, I guess you could say, as she goes around doing everything she can to get the money for the down payment that she needs the next morning that her mom blew. It's dark. It's depressing. It is hard to watch at times. The idea that a young woman goes out into the nighttime streets and comes up with ways to get 25 grand overnight, you can imagine some of the things that go on. It is not for the faint of heart. I didn't totally enjoy my stay with Night Always Comes. It kind of just took a long way to build. It was a little too slow for me, and yet there was no kind of real good payoff. It was just there. I think you can do better unless you want to, have a kind of a more sad evening, I guess. You could stick with it. Vanessa Kirby's really good if there's any redeeming.
Yeah, and
here.
by the way, people, I don't think she's a name that people would really know, but she's in the theaters right now playing Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four. She's probably best known from playing Princess Margaret in The Crown, but she was in Mission Impossible also. She played the White Widow in Mission Impossible. Yeah, not a name, but I think her name is growing because she's getting bigger roles.
Yeah, and she's always showing up at awards time. This one, unfortunately, is not going to get to awards time, but she's showing up at awards time because she gives you performances that you don't, in a lot of ways, see coming. And she's becoming very, very reliable with those awards-worthy movies. So you'll see her pop up more in those as we go on here, but not for me on this one.
So have you, and I can't remember if we've talked about Smoke on Apple TV Plus. Are you caught up on all
We
that
have.
or not?
Yeah, we're coming up on the finale here for folks to
Yeah.
check out on that one.
I think the finale's out today, and I started. Taron Egerton is in this. He plays an arson investigator, Journey Smollett, who actually happens to be the sister of Jussie Smollett, who was in the news this week. Plays a cop that kind of teams up with Taron Egerton's character to catch a couple of different arsonists. It was around about episode 3 where this thing took a turn, and I just shook my head and I said, no, you're not going to really do this. Come on. But I stuck with it and I kept watching it. And what I will say is the final 2 episodes leading up to the finale were really, really good. And there was a cliffhanger of sorts in last week's episode that I certainly didn't see coming. And I told Becky, because she's not caught up and I want to watch the finale with her, I'm like, you got to get caught up, because there really was in the penultimate episode a really good ending. So I'm looking forward to the finale. It was a show I almost gave up on, Jane, after 3 episodes.
Well,
but
I think I'm because I
like the
love
way
him.
it's closing.
I
Taron
love
Egerton?
him. Yes.
Yeah, he's good.
I'm
He's
a huge
good.
fan, so I will watch it.
Greg
So
Kinnear has a really interesting role in
I
that.
love Greg Kinnear.
Yeah.
I do.
Anything else, Paul, recommending either in the theaters or on streaming platforms this weekend?
A couple things to mention. You now can watch Superman in your home on Premium On Demand as of today. So you get a chance to check that out if you don't want to go to theaters. However, it's still in theaters, a lot of places to see it. And I would recommend with Superman, it's definitely something you want to get out to see. You've got a couple really good things coming down the road. The Terminal List has a prequel that will be out here in 2 weeks. You got a new movie in theaters next week, which we will talk about, called Relay, with Riz Ahmed. I got a chance to see that earlier this week. And I've been going through a couple other episodic television that we've got on the early near radar, shall we say, that we'll talk about soon. And I've also checked out the beginning of Fit TV over on Netflix. It is a documentary series on The Biggest Loser, and it's not always flattering about it. Jillian Michaels does not appear. Bob Harper does. So
interesting.
Draw your own conclusions.
I read about that show today. What was interesting, Sue, is, Jillian Michaels was sitting at the table when Abby Phillips had Scott Jennings and the crew on a couple of nights ago, and she was talking politics, and actually she did a really, really good job. And I was surprised. So it's interesting, a double whammy of Jillian Michaels this week. So last night, I think it was yesterday, I said to Jane, have you watched The Hunting Wives yet? Which I've had a couple of people recommend to me. And your response was going to, but then Viv, your daughter, said it got stupid, just lesbian porn. And I said, okay, I'm not going to invest, despite the attraction of the lesbian porn. So I haven't started The Hunting Wives. But the one show that I am interested in, and I want to watch this one on my big screen in the basement, and sometimes that's a little tough just because we don't let the puppy down there as much. But have you checked out Alien Earth at all yet, Paul, or not? Which is
the series over on Hulu and FX. I have not checked that out yet.
Yeah, it's an FX show that started this week. I think maybe there's 2 episodes out, and you can stream it on Hulu. It's set in it's like a prequel to all the Alien stuff, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm curious about that. I've heard good things about it. It's years before the original Alien film is the time frame, and it follows a science vessel returning to Earth with 5 new alien species and sort of explores the themes of what they're all about. But I've heard really good things about that on FX, so you can check that out as well. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go?
I think we've got almost everything covered. We got great new stuff coming yet before the end of the month. Oh, I should mention also F1 returns to IMAX theaters today. So if you've got an IMAX theater near you, you've got another chance to see F1. And eventually, Mark, that will stream on my favorite streaming platform, Apple TV Plus, once it gets done with IMAX.
So I'm in a tough spot because I haven't seen Superman or F1, and I wanted to see both of those in the theaters. My guess is I'm going to watch Superman this weekend on my 85-inch TV. I think it's going to do just fine there, but I really would like to see F1 on the IMAX. I think it's just perfect for
Is
that.
it showing here?
Well, that's a good question. We'll have to check Ronnie's and see what they did.
It's very limited. Yeah, it's only on the IMAX screen. So any IMAX screen, you have a shot.
All right. Hey, Paul, tell folks where they can find your reviews.
CommonGuy.com.
We'll talk next Friday. Thank you.
Take care.
Cusumano's coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a vehicle fire northbound 170 past the Rock Road, and they've got the 2 right lanes blocked. Now, I see a little smoke, but it looks to me like it's almost out. I just put it on X at Susan6768, but there is a jam that goes back past Olive. Also slow is southbound 170, just the usual at 64. Westbound traffic looks okay if you're leaving downtown. It's just a little slow at Hampton out through McCausland. Eastbound 40, a little slow headed for the Poplar, but it's not bad. Eastbound 44 slowing in front of the Arch. And out west, we've got volume on westbound 70, Highway A through Wentzville. 64 is pockets from Highway N. And southbound 270 isn't that bad right now. It's a little slow at Ladue Road. Now, on the Illinois side, 64 eastbound lines up 157 to near 159 due to road work. I'm Sue Thomas. That's traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, say you're someone out there that needs a car, whether it's an everyday car, maybe you're looking for something fancy like a Corvette, or you're interested in a Harley. I'm going to guide you into MasterCars Inc. They're in Granite City. They are a used car dealership with new car calibers. So keep that in mind if you're car shopping, because it's an awesome experience. Alex and Gary Rosenberger, father and son team. They have decades of experience combined selling and trading right here in St. Louis. They have shipped vehicles around the world, actually, and got them either here to St. Louis or elsewhere where people, are interested in vehicles. They will buy everyday vehicles to exotics as long as they're in really perfect with low mile conditions. I've sold a Jeep Wrangler to Alex and Gary. I've bought several vehicles, a couple for my son, a couple for me and my wife. I've known them for 10 years, so they are my go-to car guys. They have an amazing 700 horsepower V-Series Cadillac Escalade that's on the lot right now. They have Gary's own personal CVO Street Glide Harley, which has 2,000 miles and all the cool upgrades. So if you're interested in some things that they have on the lot, you can always check out the website at mastercarsinc.com. But again, I always encourage people, if they're looking for a particular vehicle, and maybe it's kind of out of your price range if you buy it new, go to Alex and Gary and say, hey, can you find it with 5,000, 10,000 miles on it, 15? You decide, and see if they can nail it for you, because they quite often hit it out of the park. Used car prices, by the way, have skyrocketed just a little bit here. The market is changing. So go with someone you can trust. That's Alex and Gary Rosenberger, MasterCars Inc. online in Granite City. Tell them that I sent you along.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support the Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet. Mark Cox here. Join me Monday, September 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center with special guest speaker Laura Trump. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews, and Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property through eco-friendly forestry mulching. Missouri Brush Control can transform your overgrown acreage into accessible and usable land, and in a fraction of the time compared to conventional methods. Missouri Brush Control also cleans up around ponds, lakes, and dams, allowing easy access to your water feature. They service residential, commercial, and recreational properties with their specialized machines and years of expertise. Enjoy your land like you've always dreamed of. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com. That's MissouriBrushControl.com.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
Fast-paced, fact-based, and never boring. This is the Mark Reardon Show.
Friday afternoon. We do it on Mondays at this time as well. We visit with Frank Cusumano from KSEK. He's with us this afternoon. We got a big series with the Yankees in town at Busch Stadium. How are you, Frank?
Good to be with you, Mark. Yeah, I think it doesn't have quite the luster of the '64 World Series. However, they are the Yankees. They are the winningest team in the history of baseball. We are second in world championships with 11. And there could be a special moment. He's not going to start tonight, but he says he's available to play. When Paul Goldschmidt comes to the plate, no matter how many people there are in that stadium, it's going to be a great moment because he was a great Cardinal.
Yeah, I'm going to the game tonight, and I hope I get to experience that. He has a knee injury. He got a little banged up, so that's why he's not starting. But there is at least a little hope that we might see him this weekend.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Mark, as you know, if the Cardinals are giving people like Aaron Miles and Skip Schumacher standing ovation, the place will just go berserk for a guy who was the best player in baseball and won the MVP one season for the Cardinals. And he's the ultimate, team guy, humble. He was kind of a dull interview. It's because he was just so humble and he didn't want to ever talk about his greatness.
So speaking of greatness, the Yankees, the Dodgers in the same camp, expected to be great with hundreds and hundreds of millions of payroll, but the Yankees struggling in their division right now. Toronto leads the way, and I think the Yankees are like 6.5 back.
Yeah, and they're right now clinging to the third and final wild card playoff spot. Can you imagine if they don't make it and then the Reds catch the Mets or the Cardinals catch the Mets and those two payrolls are not in the postseason? That would just be crazy.
Well, and the other thing that happened this week is we know we win the series against the Dodgers, you win the series against the Cubs, and then the Rockies come to town and you just seemingly can't get any runs in. How many players did they, leave on base in a couple of those games? So maybe they get back on track and they win this. We are how far out now in the wild card, the Cardinals?
We are actually, the Mets lost last night, so we're still only 3.5 out as we speak.
Okay, so that's that's realistic. I'm sort of in the camp that says, I don't know what's going to happen. I'd like to see them play well, and I'd like to see them win tonight because I'm going to the game. But look, the reality is we're playing for the future at this point.
Yeah, I want to have Ethan double check it if he can. It's either 3.5 or 4.5. I know the Mets lost last night, so we're still within striking distance. That's the bottom line.
City SC is in Chicago, I believe, tomorrow night.
Yeah, Mark, I went out there yesterday, and this David Critchley is like a cross between Norman Vincent Peale and Tony Robbins. He is the most positive guy you could ever meet. And I asked him point blank, I know you're the interim head coach, but you ever think about the permanent spot? Now, most guys would just duck that question and say, no, all I'm worried about is Chicago on Saturday. And he said, I'd be lying to you if I told you I haven't been thinking about it. And, before he got there, they won 2 games. He's won 3. Now, his record is not glitzy. It's 3-6-1, but he has players that are healthy now. They're coming off a tremendous game last Saturday against Nashville, one of the best teams in the league. They got up to a 3-0 lead. Man, if they could go on a little bit of a run here, Critchley has a chance to keep his job.
Frank, I'm so excited. I think I told you this the other day. I'm a football guy. I'm an NFL guy. I love college football. Mizzou opens the season 2 weeks from last night. We're getting real close to Mizzou football.
Yeah, we are. And, the biggest question in the state right now is who's going to be the quarterback. Mark, we sent one of our reporters down there, Corey Miller, and you get to watch a little bit of practice. And he said Sam Horn's just throwing the ball better.
Wow.
And look, this Central Arkansas, it may be a situation where he doesn't even have his decision made by then, and he plays both of them. Or maybe if Horn's the starter, Perbula's a better runner, you put in some packages where you highlight Perbula's athleticism. But it wouldn't shock me one way or the other, but people who thought when they gave Perbula $1 million, it's his job, they're wrong. Remember, Sam Horn in high school was the MVP on a team when Travis Hunter was his teammate. He's electric in terms of talent, throws a baseball 98 and can really throw a football too, and he's finally healthy.
Hey, Frank, Ethan here. Back-to-back years now, the AP preseason poll coming out that or Mizzou not in it this year. After back-to-back 10-win seasons, were you surprised by that?
Oh yeah, a little bit. In fact, I think that's only the 6th time in history that a team has had back-to-back double-digit win seasons and not been in the AP top 25. Wow. But with that said, a preseason ranking and $1 will buy you a Kit Kat. It means nothing. If Mizzou comes flying out of the gates and is 4-0 after they beat South Carolina, they're going to be way high up on those rankings.
I am interested in this quarterback situation because you're right. The assumption is when the kid leaves Penn State, Perbula, you think, well, he's the guy, right? He's the starter. And I have heard, and I know you've been tracking this, that the competition is heated up. We've never really seen Sam Horn, how many games has he even started? Just a couple of games. He hasn't really played very much. So it will be interesting because he's a very talented athlete. I don't know what to expect. I just know you got to win these games early in the season or everything else is off the table.
Yeah, Mark, we always point to that South Carolina game because that would set you up to be undefeated when Alabama comes to town. I think UMass is in between. But I'll tell you, game 2, if they would have happened to get beat by Kansas at home,
that's bad.
Well, you talk about deflating, which I don't think they will. Mark, there's one guy you got to keep an eye on. He's going to be their best player this season, I believe, is Ahmad Hardy, the running back. You've heard of him. Louisiana Monroe, 1,300 rushing yards. Drink is gushing about him. I mean, this guy has a chance to really be special.
What's coming up on Sports Plus on Sunday night?
We are going to have an unbelievable show. Bradley Beal, one of the great players to ever come out of St. Louis, a 3-time All-Star. We're going to give you his story, his life story in St. Louis and where he stands now. We are also going to talk with Eli Drinkwitz. We're going to sit down for a one-on-one interview, and we are talking one-on-one with Ali Marmol. to get his take on his squad and what his relationship is like with the new guy.
Ethan's gotten to know Ollie a little bit here pretty well. You were telling me this earlier, and you love him, don't you?
I have so much respect for Ollie Marmol, and I think he has gotten a really bad rap. And he's so good with the media. He's honest, which I think you don't get some people, managers that are as candid as he is in the game today. And he's very patient despite a lot of frustration over these last couple of years. Yeah, I love the way that Ollie has handled the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I think his relationship with Chaim Bloom is pretty good. I just think if you look at this roster and you look at their wins and losses, I don't know many managers that would have more wins with this squad.
Yep. Good point. All right, Frank, hey, have a great weekend. We'll see if the Cardinals can win this series. I'm looking forward to seeing some baseball tonight. We will talk to you on Monday afternoon.
All right, sir. Thank you.
All right, take care. Jane, you have big weekend plans or not?
Not really. I mean, yeah, we're going to Glacier National Park
Next
on
week?
Sunday.
Will you be here on the Roundtable Friday or not?
Yep.
Okay, so you're
We're just
going for
gonna-
like a quick jaunt.
Yep. And so there'll be horseback riding and hiking, and we're going to do a sunset.
Sounds
like,
miserable.
boat. Yeah, it's sad,
terrible.
isn't it?
It's
I've
so
never been
bad.
to
You
Montana.
poor lady.
I've never
And
been to Montana
What if I don't
either.
come back?
Well,
And I'll let you know.
It's amazing. I went last fall.
Everyone
It
says
is
it's incredible.
beautiful.
Buy a ranch there so we can all come visit.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
all for that.
yes.
We should have a compound.
Isn't that where Kevin Costner has his place? A lot of the Hollywood
Well,
people have it
I've
somewhere out
met
there,
him
right?
and he
Wyoming,
loved me.
Montana.
So
He
I
did.
think he did. You
love
know
you.
that he did.
I know.
And he was just adorable. And
All right.
so I could do that.
Well, have a great weekend. We're
You
coming
too.
back. Ethan's going to hang in here with me. We're going to talk to Scotty Warmann about some Cardinal stuff. Coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Okay, on the roads, we've got some volume right now. It's a slow go. If you are an eastbound 270 driver, it jams approaching the Riverview area across the Chain of Rocks Bridge. We've got that earlier vehicle fire was causing delays on the inner belt, and it looks like it's mostly out. Northbound 170 past the Rock Road, they've had the right side blocked, and it's caused a bit of a slowdown. Westbound 70 looks great out of downtown, a little bit slow out at the 70-64 split. Eastbound 70 is slow between Wright City and Forestdale. And westbound 40, just moderate volume, Hampton through McCausland. Eastbound, though, is slow at 170. And we've got another accident northbound on 270 at 64. Just a slow go through there, and on 64 westbound. Just some moderate volume out by Lake St. Louis Boulevard. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. We'll Wing It is not a retirement plan. And I was just thinking about that the other day because people are getting closer to retirement than I know. And people have said, oh, well, you know what? We've saved. We're just going to see. And no, you have to have a written retirement financial plan in place. This is because we, as the average person, do not really know what we're in for. You've got to navigate this. How about taxes in retirement? What about when to take Social Security? And you can ask AI for Social Security advice, but is that really a thing? What you need is guidance. And that's why I recommend Financial and Tax Architects. They're just the best. And they teach you about these things. Here's how to handle taxes in retirement. Let's sit down, see what you've got, and we will tailor a plan with the amount of money you have and the amount of years you've got, so far as we think, left. So give them a call. Register for a class called Retirement Planning 101. 314-888-5101, 314-888-5101.
Attention St. Louis Medicaid residents in need of care at home. If you need assistance with daily activities, you can receive in-home care from a loved one that lives with you and they get paid. Through Medicaid, Freedom Care allows you to choose who provides your care at home in St. Louis, and they get paid weekly. Available to eligible Medicaid members in St. Louis. Call now to check your eligibility. It can be your daughter, son, a close relative, or trusted friend helping you with cooking, transportation, laundry, and other activities in your own home. You get the help you need, and your caregiver gets paid. Freedom Care has over 7,000 five-star Google reviews and is a leading choice in St. Louis for in-home care. If you have Medicaid and want to receive great care from a loved one, go to freedomcare.com, or for faster service, call 314-597-1749. 314-597-1749. That's 314-597-1749.
Freedom Care, we're here for you.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
So we already have fears about a lockout for the 2027 baseball season over the salary cap. We're going to talk about it with Scott Warmann, and we'll get a little preview in for the Cardinals this weekend. Coming up.
This is a Fox News alert, a historic sit-down. I'm Lisa Lacera. A handshake and a ride in the presidential limo as President Trump greets Russian President Vladimir Putin for their summit in Alaska. Before meeting with Putin, the president told Fox's Brett Baer he's optimistic.
When you talk about deals, it's all I do. My whole life I do deals. You never know. You don't like to have too many expectations. You want it because you have to weave and bob and you don't know what's going to happen.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich is in Anchorage.
We know President Trump is really holding out for a ceasefire. He says that he won't be satisfied if that doesn't happen today, because his biggest goal in this meeting is to get a second meeting on the agenda, one that includes Ukrainian President Zelensky, where the two sides can get down to brass tacks and what peace looks like. And Ukraine and also Europe have set out a red line that without a ceasefire, that second meeting is not going to be possible.
The two leaders are not meeting one-on-one. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and their Russian counterparts are also in the room. Washington, D.C. has filed a lawsuit against the federal government after the move this week to federalize the district's police department.
The lawsuit comes hours after the Attorney General announced, effective immediately, D.C. is no longer a sanctuary city, and the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration is the new interim police commissioner. As for Mayor Muriel Bowser, she said she was not given a heads up by the administration before President Trump federalized the police force on Monday, but she says she is and legally has to work with the administration because of the way D.C. is set up.
Fox's David Spunt in Washington. U.S. Steel says flushing a gas valve as workers prepared for routine maintenance may have led to an explosion this week at a plant near Pittsburgh that left 2 people dead and sent 10 others to hospitals. Wall Street, a mixed day at the close, with the major indexes made gains for the week. The Dow plus 34, the Nasdaq off 87, the S&P lost 18. America is listening to Fox News.
Let's go! You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
You want to see basketball played the way it's supposed to be? Tune in to Ice Cube's Big 3 this summer. Watch stars like Dwight Howard, Kemba Walker, Joe Johnson, Michael Beasley, and many more, along with Hall of Fame coaches. Experience the fast pace and physical play and fun action that defines the game. You know what it is. It's the Big 3. Catch the best professional 3-on-3 players in the world live every weekend on CBS and Vice. Oh, yay, yay!
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Temperatures slowly falling out of the 90s for any evening plans. There's been 1 or 2 stray thunderstorms. They completely fall apart with the setting sun. Most of us not seeing anything, but where they've popped, there's been some heavy downpours of rain. Overall, clear skies, 75 for the low. Saturday, sunny, hot, and humid, 99. 78 Saturday night, Sunday, sunny, hot, and humid, 99. This is 97.1 FM Talk, Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
That baby's gone!
Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals.
That ball was mashed.
And there are more ways to watch this season.
Holy cow!
Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts.
How about that play?
Or watch through a TV provider.
Incredible!
Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more.
He got it!
Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
This hour of the Mark Reardon Show is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Your trees deserve the best care. Call Gamma Tree Experts. This is the Mark Reardon Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Yankees are in town. Ethan, I'm going to the game tonight. You're going to the game, right?
Sure am, yes.
Scotty Warman's going to be covering the game. He's with us for a preview, and I wanted to talk about a couple other things here this afternoon. Mr. Warmann, how are you?
Doing wonderful, Mr. Reardon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm really looking forward to getting to the ballpark tonight because I've only been, this is so shameful, and some of this is because of my health issues. I've only been to one game this entire year, Warmann. One game. That's it.
Well, that's probably one more than, unfortunately, a lot of other Cardinal fans been to this year.
Well, let me ask you that because, you know, this has been a pretty long homestand. You got the Yankees. We'll get a preview here from you in a second. But how have the crowds been? I mean, yesterday I saw, you know, some of the video during the day game. You would expect that would not be very populated, and it wasn't. But how would you rate the crowds in the past week or so?
I mean, we had good crowds last weekend when the Cubs were in town, but not as large as you would think. And now that you got, the kids going back to school, vacations are over with, it obviously showed when, the lowly Rockies were in town. Let's face it, the Cardinals even know that, they were not even going to be anywhere near 3 million. I think the preseason projection by the organization was maybe 2.2 million tickets sold in mass, which for the Cardinals is almost unheard of, but that's where they're at. And so, unfortunately, it'll be very interesting to see here in the next month plus with school in session how many fans they can draw, and hopefully they can at least, keep a competitive product on the field for the remainder of 2025. So I think, most people are looking forward to 2026 and beyond.
All right, Scotty, quick recap here. You got a couple of great series wins, one against the Cubs, one against the Dodgers, and then the Redbirds just lay an absolute egg against the Rockies. I mean, I know it kind of matches up, right? That's been the whole idea, is it's been a roller coaster year and it's a young team, inconsistent, but boy, what a frustrating series loss.
Absolutely. And I think, to be honest with you, the bullpen has been really good even after the trade deadline. You look at the work of Riley O'Brien and JoJo Romero and Kyle Ahey, and go right on down the line. And yeah, JoJo gives up the home run. That one isn't as frustrating to me, to be honest with you, Ethan, than the one where you get shut out and completely blanked by the Rockies on Tuesday. That's the one that just absolutely boggles the mind. And so you lose a season series to maybe one of the worst teams in MLB history as far as you look at the record is concerned. So it's just a part of this season that has been up and down. This weekend, they may take 2 out of 3 against the Yankees, just like you pointed out, against their success they had against the Dodgers as well as the Cubs, even though the Cubs have really been flailing here over the last almost 2 months. I mean, obviously, as we all know, if you even keep a little peek at what's going on in Major League Baseball, Milwaukee Brewers is just an incredible story, just have been absolutely tearing it up no matter who they play against.
That is really something. I mean, because if you go back, 6-7 weeks, we were still at least just a few games out of first. The Cubs were looking like they were going to maybe, I don't know about run away with it, but they certainly had control of the division. But the Brewers have just been on fire, and they're built for the postseason right now, aren't they?
Absolutely. They got some of their pitching marked its back, starting rotation, what have you. And it almost seems, I was watching one of the games of their comebacks last weekend, and it almost seems like a team of destiny right now. And they're just playing within themselves. It's not like they have any big names, they don't have the Shoheis or the Freddie Freemans of the world that are on their team. But they have really put together a great team, and it's really a great organization. In fact, some of these sites that cover a lot of the minor leagues and prospects and what have you, Milwaukee is considered one of the top teams as far as their prospect pool is concerned. So it's not like the cupboard is dry even after this year. They look like they could be on a run for a while if everything comes out as far as what these prognosticators say.
And you, Scott, you could argue that the New York Yankees are the exact opposite of what the Milwaukee Brewers are. They have the star-studded players, they have the big contracts, but they don't play the game very clean. What do you know? What are your biggest takeaways going into this series, Cardinals Yankees here at Busch Stadium?
Well, I think a couple of things is I think it'll be intriguing to see. They've got a pitcher tonight who was the Rookie of the Year last year, who's only in his third start. They're scrambling not only for starting pitching with some of the injuries, but their bullpen is one of the worst bullpens in all of Major League Baseball. So when you got something like that, that's not going to add up to success either making the playoffs, but even if you back in yourself into the playoffs, you need to have a good bullpen to close things out. Heck, even last night I was watching the Mets and the Braves, and Ryan Helsley again blew up in the eighth inning, had a 3-2 lead, gave up 3 runs, and the Braves come back and they beat the Mets. And you know that's what they tried to do, is solidify their bullpen. And unfortunately for Helsley and the Mets, it's not working out well. The Yankees really sat back and they didn't really add much to their bullpen. In fact, St. Louis and Devin Williams, who they acquired from the Milwaukee Brewers in the offseason, was supposed to be their closer. He hasn't even panned out. And Luke Weaver, who was moved from closer to setup guy, is now back as a closer role for the New York Yankees. The other thing I think you keep in mind here, Ethan and Mark, is the fact that, you know, Aaron Judge is just coming off the IL. And right now, all he has been a designated hitter. So Giancarlo Stanton has basically been forced out in the outfield. Now, back in his heyday when he was with the Marlins, I mean, he was a 5-tool player. But he's not a 5-tool player anymore. So that could be an intriguing situation if the Cardinals get a lot of balls hit out to right field to maybe take advantage of a guy who's really not your prototypical right fielder anymore. But, I mean, they're still loaded. You know, they can hit the ball out of the ball yard. One of the most fiercest power-hitting teams in all of Major League Baseball. And the other, I guess, footnote of the whole thing is Paul Goldschmidt got hurt on Tuesday, and it looks like, Mark, he won't even be able to play this weekend, unfortunately, here in St. Louis in his comeback.
Yeah, you beat me to my next question. What, he's got a sprained knee or something along those lines?
Yeah, it happened on Tuesday against the Twins. And he did make the trip, so he is back here to St. Louis, but there are reports out there that anytime this weekend they could actually put him on the injured list. I guess they're trying to see how extensive the injury that he sustained the other night in the Twins game is to that knee.
All right, so I want to talk to you about the future here a little bit, Scotty Warmann, because Rob Manfred was in Chicago last week to announce that Wrigley Field is going to host the All-Star Game in 2027. But the bigger question is, will there actually be an All-Star Game in 2027? Because this battle over a salary cap is already starting to bubble over and heat up, isn't it?
It is. It's very interesting. I was told by people who cover the game on a daily basis after they left the winter meetings, I believe it was down in Dallas last December, they said, hey, look, people we're talking to, be prepared for a work stoppage in 2027. And I know, at least not from the players' side, but at least from an organizational standpoint, I've been told that it almost seems inevitable, which is crazy to me because where we're at, 2025. So you got a year and a half, maybe a little over a year. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but the same CBA was up for the National Hockey League. And guess what happened, Mark and Ethan? The NHL has already come to an agreement on a 4-year extension, and they're avoiding all work stoppages for at least another 4 years after this original CBA is up. But as far as baseball and the Players Association is concerned, as far as I understand, there's not one conversation going on at all. And it sounds like everybody is digging in their heels. And I can't believe that we would actually go through another work stoppage. And you know, we've all grown up loving baseball, loving the Cardinals. But to me, those of us, I know, Ethan, you weren't around probably, but for Mark and I to remember what happened in '94 when you lost the season, to me, this baseball can't afford to have an extended loss of a season. It just can't. There's too much competition out there, and they're going to lose a bigger fan base than just some of us Gen Xers and even the boomers that are around that remember this back in 1994. Now people that are Ethan's age and younger are like, well, you know, they're already starving to try to get the younger generation to watch the game. And now you're going to have this huge work stoppage. I mean, I hope that's not the case, but people I know that are tied into the game are just like, this seems almost inevitable. And I hope that everybody winds up coming to their senses and coming to the table and figuring something out. But yeah, don't be surprised after 2026 all indications are we could have a work stoppage, Mark. It's crazy.
I know this is very complicated, and the players have an opinion, the owners have an opinion, Rob Manfred has an opinion, the fans have their opinions. They're probably mixed. Look, I've always been pro salary cap. I think that it's worked in other leagues. Now, I'm not a professional player worried about how much money is going to go into my bank account. Do you have a particular position on a salary cap, which seems like that is the big sticking point in all of this moving forward?
It is, and you have caps in all the other three major sports. So I know that the union in Major League Baseball is the most powerful out of all four, but I think you have to look at it from some standpoint and say, look, we have to have some creative balance because, as Ethan, I know you know, what was it back when the Dodgers were in town in June? They had so many pitchers, Mark, that were on the IL that they had $100 million worth of pitchers alone that were on the injured list, which is more than some of the entire teams spend on their team in a year. So if you're the Dodgers, you do it. I get it. I'm not going to sit there and beat them or what the Mets try to do or what have you. But somewhere along the way, there has to be some type of form of competitive balance because, I mean, look at the Pittsburgh Pirates. I always use this one as an example. You have the greatest pitcher in a generation. I mean, the guy's just incredible. But I guess doesn't make enough money to go out and get some hitting. I mean, he's got an ERA below 2, and he has an under 500 record. And you're not going to be able to keep that guy very long because as soon as he can become an unrestricted free agent, he's gone because somebody's going to pay him big bucks because Pittsburgh can't afford it. But with all that being said, now it seems to me, now I know the Pirates ownership has gotten some heat from around Major League Baseball, that you can't take advantage of this opportunity to have a guy like Paul Skeens and try to win now. Maybe they can't. Maybe financially they can't. Well, if that's the case, then we seriously do need to figure something out in Major League Baseball. I was smart enough to figure it all out so we could, hammer this thing out. But there definitely has to be more of a competitive balance because how many more years can we sit there and watch the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets and the Phillies and the Boston Red Sox, and that's it, unless some team strikes lightning in a bottle. And I think the Cardinals are in a situation now where you're not getting as much of a fan base. They're not getting as much TV revenue that, now they're in a situation where maybe they're not near the top of the creme de la creme of the teams. And so they have to worry about that too from a financial standpoint until they can try to get this whole thing reclamated and back to where we know Cardinal baseball is.
Yeah, it's sad because, and I know the Orioles got hot for a couple of years, but you look at some of these franchises like the Orioles. I don't know that I put the Rockies in this category because they don't have as much history, but the A's, the Orioles, the Pirates, these were the teams that I grew up with when I was a kid in the 70s. Those were the teams that dominated. And the Reds.
I mean, Mark, think about the Oakland A's. People don't realize that the Athletics, as they call them now, they have an incredible history with incredible players. But the problem is they have never been able to keep players because of their financial restrictions in the small market that they were in. I mean, they've had some great teams. Look at just in the early 2000s when they had Zito, Mulder, and Tim Hudson. Those were three prima donna pitchers, but yet they couldn't hold on to them because they couldn't afford them, and that was it. They were gone. And you can even go farther back beyond that. And that's just one example of where you have a situation where they can't hold that part up, where the big market teams, if you will, can be able to, keep guys like that.
Scotty Warmann, awesome to catch up with you. I'm looking forward to heading out to the ballpark tonight. Even Fred's going to be there. Ethan, you'll be there kind of working. Fred's going out.
Trifecta.
I'm taking the family out. Is it too early for you to start thinking about Blues hockey? You're already thinking about that. That's not too far off, right?
Oh, we're getting ready, baby.
Yeah.
Put those skates on, Reardon.
I cannot wait. Look, I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but with the young talent and some promise this year, I think it could be a fun season. Scott, thank you so much. Have a great game. Maybe I'll see you tonight.
Thank you, Scotty.
Appreciate it.
You got it. See you guys.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got some volume up north. If you are eastbound on 270, it really starts to line up. And this is just east of Bell Fountain across the Chain of Rocks Bridge. And then it looks better. Westbound 70, great out of downtown. A little bit slow. And that's just right at the Highway A through Wentzville area. Eastbound 70 is pretty slow. Approaching Wright City, almost to Forestel. We've got a report of an incident there. Now, westbound 40, just moderate volume at Clayton Skinker. Eastbound slowing at the Inner Belt. Westbound slowing again at Prospect. If you are headed into Illinois, things are fine, but we have drivers coming in for the Cardinals game tonight, so it's a little slow westbound. And eastbound 64, slowing on either side of 158. That, of course, all due to road work. This report brought to you by Barron Mirror Glass and Door. Barron Mirror Glass and Door has the largest, most beautiful showroom in all of St. Louis, full of the latest, most custom designs. It's in Chesterfield Valley. There you'll see why they say creativity unlimited, quality unsurpassed. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's Traffic 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
For many years, I have talked about Bitcoin on this show, and for all those years, I've kind of shaken my head saying, I don't really get it. I don't get it, but I had like a Bitcoin 101 dinner meeting with a guy by the name of Bitcoin Ben that I'm going to introduce you to right now, and hopefully here he'll be a guest on the show, maybe even as early as next week. So he is opening another Bitcoin Ben crypto club. They have him in Florida. He has one in Las Vegas. He's going to bring one to his hometown. Bitcoin Ben was a truck driver. He became very fascinated with cryptocurrency. He's done very well. He wants to share his passion and his knowledge with you so you can have your own Bitcoin 101 with the Crypto Club. It will teach you what Bitcoin is. I mean, I learned a lot just at the dinner. There's only 21 million Bitcoins that would be ever available. The mining is done with a computer, so it's a little different than gold or other currencies, but he's going to teach you in the club how to buy it, how to safely store it. That's very important, how to avoid scams. There will be live classes on Bitcoin and other digital assets. They're going to have meetups with folks that have a passion for this. You can discover how to get a loan for Bitcoin purchases, and also tokenized clean beef plus Bitcoin program is something else that they will discuss. Some of the stuff I don't even understand yet. I've learned a lot from Ben. He will teach you a lot. He wants everyone to have a chance at this once in a lifetime generational wealth. Look, there's stuff going on in Washington. Even Ann Wagner here in St. Louis working on a bill dealing with cryptocurrency. Trump is very, very open to crypto. He kind of sees the future here. Ben sees the future. He'd like you, and I would like you to learn about the future of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. The website to get started is bitcoinben.io. That'll find out more a little bit about the club coming to St. Louis and what he does on YouTube, the Private Key Bank, which is coming this fall. Again, information right now, bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Your home sold guaranteed, or I'll buy it. Hi, I'm Gloria Liu, broker owner at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And for over 20 years, I've been getting my home sellers the most money for their home and selling faster than the average agent. So when you're ready to sell your home or have questions, call me.
For years now, I've been telling you about my friend and trusted realtor, Gloria Liu, and why you should call. Hey, it's Mark Cox. Fact is, when I needed to sell my home, my only call was to Gloria Liu, and she delivered. Gloria exceeded our expectations, and that's why I strongly recommend you call, especially in this shifting market. No matter what happens, you're guaranteed to sell your home at 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay the difference. Call today. Get an upfront written guarantee and start packing. Sell with certainty and for 100% of market value, or Gloria will pay you the difference. Call 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
The Mark Reardon Show, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, Sue's not in the studio this very moment, but I think I can speak for her. We love our conversations with George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet, and one of the stories that we had this week was AOL was finally going by the wayside. I think a lot of us thought that it had already gone by the wayside when it came to the dial-up services, but apparently it still was active out there, and we're going to kind of look back at the history of AOL. There's some other things related to Chat GPT that I know that George will cover. It's always a fascinating conversation about technology. You know, I told this story about a week ago, and we've talked to George about some of the phishing scams that are out there. I was this was maybe a couple of days before I returned to the air last Friday. I got something that was in my junk email. I was checking junk because someone had sent something to me. I was looking for it, so I go to the junk email. I see something from Spotify. I had just changed a debit card out not too long ago, and I'd already been getting notifications from some of the newspapers I subscribe to, like the LA Times. Hey, you need to redo your billing. So in this particular case, I thought it was real, and I clicked on the Spotify link and I filled out my information. I put the credit card in there, the 3-digit code. Boom. Within seconds, I don't even want to say within minutes, within seconds, there was a charge that came through on my debit card from overseas that was flagged as fraud. In fact, I just heard today from US Bank saying that they had, they had already refunded the money, but they had cleared the case and they proved it was, an illegitimate charge. But I'm telling you, some of these things get so sophisticated, and I'm on the lookout for it. My radar is up, and it still happens. So we'll talk to George about some fun stuff here coming up in a second. How about some music right now? This is like one of my favorite songs of the year. It might actually go back to last year. I guess time makes fools of us all. It's Father John Misty, and he's one of the performers that will be at the Evolution Festival, which is now just about a month away. It's September 27th and 28th. Steve Schankman is with us, the co-producer of the festival, the founder, of course, and president of Contemporary Productions. Mr. Schankman, how are you this afternoon? Good to have you back.
Oh, always good to be on with you. Everything's great. And now don't let this weather scare you this week, because your weatherman and my weatherman, Dave Murray, says end of September.
Yep.
Perfect weather, 70s, low 80s, sunny, no rain.
And when we go back 2 years, this will be the third Evolution Festival, right? If you go back 2 years, you had it in August, but then shifted it to late September last year. Is my memory serve me? Yeah.
That's right. So this year it's going to be September 27th and 28th, Saturday, Sunday, Forest Park, 30 bands, 3 stages, and lots of fun.
I love that band, Father John Misty. I love him. Sam Fender's another one I'm looking forward to seeing. The lineup is great, but you still have, one of the things that I saw on the website I was unfamiliar with. Maybe you described this to me before. There are a couple of VIP options. One of them is the chair pass, where you bring your own chair. What's that about?
Well, the first year people brought chairs, and the problem is it takes up lots of space. Some people have a big chair, a small chair. So we decided that you'd have to rent a chair from us. And we had so many people that said, can we bring our own chair? And we looked at other festivals like down in Louisville at Bourbon and Beyond, and they charge $7, $8 to bring your own chair. But the money goes to charity. So this year we earmarked that for the Urban League. So every chair pass that people buy, that money, all of it, other than the cost of the transaction, will go to Urban League of St. Louis.
The other two options now, look, I am a ticket snob. I typically, even though I'm getting just a little older, Steve, I typically like to be right in front of the stage, and you guys do have pit passes available if you want to get real close. And the other thing about that, I think you get some nice restroom access as well. I don't know if there's food that comes along with that, but that's another option that you have. And then there's something called Club Evolution, which is another VIP option. So several options for tickets.
That's right. Well, you get people that want to spend more money to get better play. So the Evolution Club is the newest thing. Pit passes we've had before, but Evolution Club, tented right on the side, the north side by the stage, elevated area 3 feet off the ground where you can stand and watch the stage. The club has a buffet, dinner both days, plus tables, chairs, lounge area, and VIP bathrooms. Bathrooms at a festival is as important as parking. Matter of fact,
more important, I think.
More important. So parking is available online. You can park it in the muni lot, the upper lot, walk down the hill. We got a new entrance there that we put in for last year. We're going to keep it again this year. But you talk about Sam Fender. Here we go. Here's a chance. I think he's playing 2 dates in the United States to see an act from the UK that just played Wembley Stadium and sold out. 70,000 people. So, I mean, come in 6 weeks from now, one of the biggest acts in the world will be playing on our stage at Evolution Festival.
And he's not even the headliner that night. Sublime is the headliner on Saturday, but Sam Fender has been on my list now for years to see. And that is, outside of Father John Misty, he is number one on my list and absolutely a reason to head out there on that first day of the festival. So I'm very excited to see Sam Fender. Yeah, he's blown up and arguably, is a guy that's not a household name, but if you listen to any alternative radio, which I do, and I have satellite radio, he's got so many things that have been out there and, doing some collaborations with artists. So there's a lot of respect for him out there as well. But the lineup overall, like on that Saturday, you got Public Enemy, The Hives, Corinne Bailey Ray, who is fantastic. You go to
More
Sunday,
diversity.
Lenny Kravitz is the headliner, Father John Misty,
More
TLC.
diversity.
What's that?
That's it.
More diversity. Yeah. Marcus King
the whole
Band.
idea of the festival is create something that's a music genre diversity show. 30 acts, 3 stages. Lenny Kravitz hasn't been in a long time. No one has seen Sublime probably with the son that's singing now. TLC, Public Enemy, something for everybody. And when you look at the price, it doesn't cost that much. I mean, you're looking at $120 for 2 days, $60 a day to see up to 30 acts, and the food and the beverages and parking is not a problem. Just got to have the nice weather. We can't take this 80, 90, 100 degree weather. I mean, it's just hot as heck out, and we're getting good forecasts. I'm serious about your weather, man.
I know he probably comes in for this, right? He usually does.
He does.
Yeah.
Him and Janice do. That's true. But I really hope people start buying tickets. We've had a little lull in the ticket sales. And this year, all the net proceeds, whether it's merchandise or food or beverage or your tickets or anything you buy, is going to United Way. Okay, no profit for us, Evolution Festival. All profit with $100,000 guarantee, which I made with my family towards United Way relief for the horrible May tornado.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if you buy a ticket, not only are you going to get 30 acts in 2 days for $120, let's say $130, but you're going to get in St. Louis a way to help those that are in need. And that's what St. Louis does. We're a concert town. Rod Stewart's out tonight at Riverport.
At the amphitheater, right.
Sold out. I'm playing the Taste of St. Louis in a couple hours. So get out, buy your tickets, plenty of options. And the media's been great because with the United Way as a recipient of all of our net proceeds, we're helping those people, especially in North St. Louis. Our site is fine. We lost 2 trees. Forest Park was a lot of trees went away, but we're looking great. We were there yesterday. And, I mean, the bands are all going to be posting on social media. Cedric the Entertainer, although he can't be here, is putting on a PSA for us to raise money. A lot of St. Louisans are really coming to help, especially our sponsors, which is too many to name, but we're presented by Stiefel, which is a company you know very much so. And it's just a lot of people coming together to make this happen. Third year, but we need support.
Yep. Evolutionfestival.com. Look, Steve, I'll give you a lot of love here in the coming weeks because I love these artists. So we'll make sure we get the word out. And I think you're right about the weather. It's going to turn out fantastic. I have to say one thing about the factory. I've been to many shows at the factory. I know Wilco was there this week. My friend John Lamping, who's on the Roundtable, had a fantastic time. When we brought Brian Kilmeade in for his show a few months ago, this goes back to April. I think I texted you at the time. I had never been into the backstage area of the factory. And I remember talking to you about that venue that you are a co-creator of. And one of the things that was very important was to make sure that the backstage area was uber cool, not only for the artists, but for the crews. Like they have their own showers. And everyone that I talked to there, and every time I talk to someone connected with a band, and I still have some connections out there in the music business, they rave about this place. Like it is the premier place, maybe not only in the Midwest, but in the country when it comes to the amenities that it has. So I know you're proud of it.
Well, very proud. And actually, Mike Steinberg was the financial wizard behind getting this deal put together. But here's the thing. We need the acts to come to St. Louis. There's nothing that says they have to come here. And if we don't keep good venues and festivals and ways for them to make what they have to do, their money every week, you lose that. So you have to keep that up. That's why we want to continue doing this festival year after year, creating something for St. Louis that puts us on the map. I mean, Forbes magazine wrote us up last year. We were one of the top 10 hip-hop festivals the year Ice Cube played. But it takes the fans. just like baseball or hockey. If the fans don't show up, then the acts don't come back. It's like that. And I know we're going to get good support, and I appreciate all that you're doing, Mark, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it. Evolution Music Festival. It's evolutionfestival.com. Get some tickets, learn all the information, lots of food and beverage options, and the VIP passes. Steve, I can't wait. It's only about a month away, so I'll see you soon. Thank you. We'll get you out before that as well.
Thank you. And remember, we're helping out United Way through Storm Relief for people that really need this now. It's been written up. It's not good. So every ticket helps those people. Thanks so much.
All right.
And have a nice, cool evening.
You too. And good luck playing at the Taste of St. Louis. Have fun with your band.
7:30 we'll be on stage.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Steve Schankman.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Man, it's really not bad, although eastbound 270 is bad. It's lined up near Bell Fountain across the Chain of Rocks Bridge. Then things open up. But westbound 70 is in great shape. Now, eastbound 70 is slow on either side of Wright City. And westbound 64, just a little slow at Clayton Skinker. It's eastbound where we have a bit of traffic, 170 through Big Bend, just because of the ball game. And there is some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge, but eastbound is fine if you're headed home into Illinois. Now, there's some volume and an accident reported eastbound 64 near 159. Look for some volume through there as well. It's a slowdown. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property, manage vegetation, and clear land for better views. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Visit MissouriBrushControl.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 39 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Rascal Flats, Life is a Highway Tour 2026. Saturday, January 17th, Enterprise Center. Country music's greatest vocal group, Rascal Flats. Back on the road. With special guests, Chris Lane and Lauren Elena. On sale now, online at livenation.com. Rascal Flats Live.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
And this portion of the show is sponsored by our friends at Jerry Kelly Heating and Air.
Built in the heartland for the heartland. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, it looks like, and we mentioned this at the start of the show, because Putin and Trump went into their meeting a few hours ago. Now we are looking at a picture on Fox, and I'm guessing CNN has the same shot. Yeah, two podiums. And it says "Pursuing Peace" behind it in Anchorage, Alaska. Reporters are gathered in that room, and we're going to try to bring that to you live here. But you know how these things are. They could be fixated on that podium or those podiums for half an hour, 45 minutes, and nobody comes out. But it does look like maybe we're going to get, Trump and Putin to come out, maybe answer some questions here and see how this thing went down and be able to gauge that. Obviously, we'll talk more about it on Monday's show. Right now, we have George Rosenthal, who is one of the owners of ThrottleNet. We love ThrottleNet. He's one of our great tech experts here on 97.1 FM Talk. George, we may have to cut you a little short depending on what Putin and Trump do, just so you know. But how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great. Totally understand. That's if I'm going to get bumped for anything, that is a good bump. I totally understand that one.
Did you hear what Trump did? There was like this flyover where there were.
I watched it.
Oh yeah,
I watched it.
Like
it
right
was,
behind.
It was like a mini air show right in front of Putin. It was something to see.
B-2, and I guess was it F? I don't know what the other.
He had a couple of F-22s.
Yeah,
and looked like maybe an F-35 in there as well. But it was quite the display and dynamite looking, as in pure Trump fashion.
So we had a couple of things that came up on Sue's News this week. One of them was that AOL was finally shutting down the dial-up service, to which we said, wow, AOL still had the dial-up service. We had no idea.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about some nostalgia, man. Bringing back everyone's childhood of the 1200 baud modem, then the 2400 baud. You thought you were all cool. You had that screeching sound on your phone, and then it would connect. And you'd finally get to a web page or a bulletin board page, and your sister would pick up the phone and cut you off. That was my entire childhood of being brought up on the internet. Yeah.
She would never do that.
I told this story the other day because I have this very distinct memory of when I was setting up my first computer. It was a Sony Vaio computer. All right. And I'm living in St. Louis. This is 1996. I get the thing set up, and I'm not quite clear on how to, investigate what became known as the World Wide Web. And I sign up for AOL, and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate what's out there in the world on the internet. And I get on the phone, I think it was with someone from Sony, customer service, and they tell me that I need to have a browser. I'm like, what the hell? What are you talking? It was so difficult for me to get my head wrapped around what they were describing. I had no idea what they were talking about. And that browser then became Netscape. That was one of the early browsers. But it was confusing because I had AOL and I could do a certain amount of searching and surfing on AOL. But in order for the whole thing to be opened up, you needed, and then it was, Internet Explorer, which I ended up hating.
Well, and keep in mind, there was no internet provider other than AOL and any other competitor that came out and sent you a CD. Remember Earthly? Yeah,
that's what I had.
Competing CD-ROMs in the mail, and they offer you 10 minutes of free time.
Oh my God!
It was never how much data you could use; it was how much time you could use, because there were no internet providers other than those two, because you were using the phone line, the telephones, to get to them.
You guys, that moves so fast from that. I had a giant first-generation iMac, and it was blue. And I would carry it. It had like a handle on the top, and you could carry it around. And think about where we are today. It's mind-boggling.
It really
is. It's something else. We were joking at the office earlier with a couple of guys saying, how many of those AOL CD-ROMs do you have of free time in your closet or garage now you got to throw away?
Oh, man.
So, I mean, it is an end of an era, but it's like you said, Sue, it's amazing how fast we got here. I know 30 years sounds like a long time, but in the way of humanity, it really isn't. And now we're talking AI, we're talking about robots in the house, we're talking about things that are your wearable computers and beyond cell phones. I mean, it's just fascinating in just 30 years how far it's come. I mean, things like the BlackBerry, for crying out loud, are gone.
Oh yeah.
You remember when Netflix used to deliver DVDs to your house?
Yes.
I mean,
you could be on the 2 CD plan if you were really rich. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I have a tendency, and we do this sort of as a family. We watch older seasons of Survivor when we're kind of vegging out at night. Alexa likes to watch it. And it's so funny because we're watching the era of Survivor, which is right around 2010, 2011. And they're doing some of their promos. Like they have Blackberries or early, edition phones that take video and they take audio. Even if you look back, and I don't do a lot on Facebook these days, but if you look back to the early days of when you were on Facebook, you look at the quality of the pictures. I mean, it is unbelievable. And Sue you don't have Apple products, but just the caliber of what these cameras do. Becky sent me a couple of pictures. Sue saw them of the puppy today, and they look like professional shots because of this caliber of these cameras. It's amazing.
And you know what else?
Technology,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, you get a new appliance, whatever that may be. We got a refrigerator today, and the first thing it asks you to do is take a picture with your camera so it can hook you up, and you can then have that on your phone and control whatever thing is in your house.
With an app.
With an app.
Yes,
wow.
With an app, yeah. And the refrigerator will automatically reorder your water filter when it's coming due.
It's crazy. I'm sorry I interrupted you, George.
No. Absolutely. That's a great point. In fact, I mean, it lends to the crazy contrast in 30 years of dialing up on your telephone and waiting for every click versus now putting a Starlink satellite receiver the size of a laptop in your hands and going 70 miles an hour in a car while streaming five continuous streams from Netflix while you're talking to a satellite in space from your car.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
That is the contrast.
You can do all that, but still, if you're on 6440 and you're passing the science center in the zoo, you still can't get the connection to hold firm because it'll always dip out on you. At least me with AT&T.
It really does.
I'm just,
It really does.
There's an area on 44 near Lindbergh. The same thing happens. It's it's unbelievable. Well, Sue had a story about ChatGPT that was out earlier as well.
Yeah.
It said that it didn't go well. Yeah.
No, it's been kind of a bummer. And you guys know from just talking, I'm a huge GPT fan. I'm an OpenAI fan. I'm a major fan of what they've done with AI. But the competition is just so fierce now with everything from Grok to Gemini. I mean, the list goes on and on. You've got Firefly with Adobe. And I think what's happening is that they're rushing. I think things are being rushed because of competition. And subscribers could be, because now it's all being driven by money. It's a subscription-based system now, whether I go to Grok or whether I spend my money with Gemini or OpenAI. But man, I tell you, that I was so disappointed at version 5. First off, it wasn't even really announced. It was just kind of a surprise. And then it just came across as emotionless. I talk to GPT-4o literally on a daily basis. And when I talk to version 5, it's very flat. It's very robotic. It seems like you're talking to some sort of weird old school robot, and it doesn't seem like 4.0. I don't know why they let that out. The other crazy thing is for paid subscribers, they are now limiting the amount of interactions you can have. And I'm like, wait a second, that's the whole point of me doing the subscription here, so that I can talk to the AI throughout the entire day. And I'm not limited by a certain amount of prompts per hour, which is crazy to me. But I don't know. It's the crazy thing on Reddit. It's being called the corporate beige zombie. So that could be a very bad PR issue. But this is what happens when you have competition that's so fierce, and you get rushed development and not enough testing, and then you don't do any user testing, and you just release it out to the public, and here we are. I'm kind of bummed about it.
Yeah, that seems odd for technology that's that advanced. That really kind of surprises. It caught us off guard when she did that story earlier today.
Yeah. It feels like a downgrade. I'm like, can we just, if you're going to put something out, at least one thing I loved about when Apple did something, Apple was always behind on everything. Like, the Galaxy phones had the clock showing at all times, even when the phone was off. They've had that for a long time. And Apple comes out and says, we have this new feature, and everybody rolls their eyes. But the point is, Apple takes their time to develop something hardcore to the length that they can't improve it anymore, and then they shove it out to the public. And nowadays, since AI is now subscription-based, it's now a race to how many subscribers you can get. And I think it's going to put a lot of pressure on developers to get things right.
You know what, George? Yeah, you're probably right about that. And I hadn't thought about it, that they're in a rush. A friend of mine actually has used Grok, and this kind of blew my mind, to come up with a business plan. They just laid it all out. And he said that he had to come up with the right questions to ask. But once he did, it came up with stuff he hadn't thought of and was able to write a better proposal. And it was successful. I mean, this stuff is crazy.
It really is. And then if you do know the right things to ask and you ask it in the right order, it'll create everything from brand guidelines, brand logos, sample social media posts, things you should put out on YouTube. It is absolutely fascinating. I mean, you can do things a lot faster. And what's interesting is when you get a success like ChatGPT that blew up over the last 3+ years in such a way that it did, now the bar is set so high. Mm-hmm. It's so high. All of our expectations are instantaneous. We're talking to satellites while we're driving in our cars. We're watching Netflix while you're in your car, out in the woods somewhere camping. Like, the expectations for everything are just so high. And if it doesn't meet that, it just gets shredded online. And so they're going to have some work to do to come back. But they did actually apologize. They acknowledged that it wasn't as good. And then they opened up version 4.0 back up again.
That's
so
what
that's
Sue
what's
told
kind of
us.
interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting. Hey, I wanted to talk to you. I don't know how much time we have here because we're still up against the two things, the clock and maybe this news conference with Trump and Putin. But I was early in on Twitter. I think pretty early in on Twitter. And I still like Twitter quite a bit. I use Instagram. I don't use Facebook very often unless I'm posting pictures of the family or the puppy. But this Blue Sky thing has really taken off. And I know that Jack Dorsey, who was one of the original, founders of Twitter, was also involved in Blue Sky. Is Blue Sky like a thing now that people are really going to?
It is, and their stock is going up too. Blue Sky is actually, and on a political level, you can think whatever you want of Jack Dorsey. Deep down, he's a smart guy. I mean, he's one of the creators of Twitter. He was the CEO for a long, long time. He's not a dummy, no matter what side of the political thing he's on. But I will say that this system is dynamite, and what should make X a little nervous is the way the protocol is set up. And this is what's fascinating. I've had the same telephone number for 25 plus years, not the same carrier, but the same phone number. So I'm able to carry the number to different carriers. They have designed a way that I can leave a platform like Twitter with all of my followers and bring them over to a new platform.
Okay. So that now I'm interested because that was
game changing.
Because that's really what's kept me from going to any of these other competitors. I'm like, well, wait a second, you got to rebuild all the followers and stuff like that. That doesn't seem like it's even feasible. Look, I'd like to have a deeper conversation about Blue Sky with you. And I know that originally that was maybe the plan today, but like I said, kind of up against the clock. But maybe let's delve into this again next week. Maybe I'll even set up an account. We'll kind of get rolling with it. We'll have a better conversation. How does that sound, George?
That sounds fantastic.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
You too. That was fun. It was great talking.
Take care.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a jam on eastbound 270. If you are headed into Illinois, expect a jam just east of Bell Fountain across the chain of Roxbridge. Now, if you're headed to the game tonight on 70, it's a little slow at Wright City, but then it's fine into downtown. 64, a little bit slow, 170 through Big Bend, and then it opens up. And there's some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge as Illinois drivers come over for the game. I'm Sue Thomas, and that's traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, you don't have to worry about the power going out at your home, whether you're there in town, at work, or out of town. If you get a Generac home standby generator, and it's really, really easy to get a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer, and they're right here in St. Louis. They're the nation's #1 dealer. They have a retail dealership out in Chesterfield on the Airport Road. All of the installations are permitted and code compliant. That's important because you have competitors out there. Some of the folks in the HVAC world, they'll kind of cheap out a little bit. And this is a company, Generator Supercenter, that sells, installs, maintains, monitors the Generac automatic standby generators. Tim Fitch, who's a guest on the show on a regular basis, said that he got one, and he heard me talking about it here on 97.1 FM Talk. So you can give yourself a lot of peace of mind. You won't have to worry about the power company and calling them when things go wrong. We know the infrastructure. This is why your utility bills are going up, because they need to upgrade the infrastructure. You don't have to worry about it when you have a high-quality, top-notch generator. So don't wait for the next outage, the next tornado, the ice storm in the winter. Call Generator Supercenter today. It's a free estimate. Financing is available with low monthly payments. 314-499-2020. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
From border security to school choice, the Constitution to the culture war. Made in America. Heard in the Midwest. You're listening to 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
While you start to think spring, that might mean a move is in your future. But the question is, when is the right time to buy? Well, I go to my friend Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage to ask that question. Stewie, how do buyers beat the competition when they're looking to buy a new home?
All right, Annie, we're going to give you 3 big bullets. Number 1, get the BAGO loan. No closing costs. If you don't have to pay those closing costs, add it to the bid. You'll beat all the other offers. Number 2, tell the seller you're going to close in 10 days. 10 days, most lenders take 30 days just to get the loan approved. He's going to take your offer over everybody else's right away. Number 3, we give you the power of the pre-approval in your hands. You can access our portal anytime you want and generate your own pre-approval letter. Don't wait for the lender. You can make it happen yourself.
Well, the smart move starts by calling or texting my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. He just gave you those 3 tips to smart buying to beat the competition. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
Protect your liver and give it the support it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or at newnordicusa.com.
This is St. Louis Conservative. No filters, no fluff. Mark Reardon is back on the mic.
Well, this is going to time out really, really well because Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump are taking the podium in Anchorage like right now. So this will serve as our audio cut of the day. Sue, have a great weekend.
You too.
We're going to go to Fox coverage of this news conference.
Our negotiations have been held in a constructive atmosphere of mutual respect. We had very thorough negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to Alaska. It only makes sense that we've met here because our countries, though separated by the oceans, are close neighbors. So when we've met, when I came out of the plane and I've said, good afternoon, dear neighbor, very good to see you, in good health, and to see you alive. I think that is very neighborly. And I think that's some kind words that we can say to each other. We're separated by the Strait of Bering, though there are 2 islands only between the Russian island and the U.S. island. They're only 4 kilometers apart. We're close neighbors, and it's a fact. It's also important that Alaska has to do with our common heritage, common history between Russia and the U.S., and many positive events have to do with that territory. Still, there is tremendous cultural heritage back from the Russian America. For example, Orthodox churches and a lot of more than 700 geographical names of Russian origin. During the Second World War, it was here in Alaska that was the origin of the legendary air bridge for the supply of military aircraft and other equipment under the Lend-Lease program. It was a dangerous and treacherous route over the vast emptiness of ice. However, the pilots of both countries did everything to bring closer the victory. They risked their lives and they gave it all for the common victory. I was just in the city of Magadan in Russia, and there is a memorial there dedicated to the Russian and the U.S. pilots. And there are 2 flags, the U.S. flag and the Russian flag. And I know that here as well, there is such a memorial. There is a military burial place several kilometers away from here. The Soviet pilots that buried there who died during that dangerous mission. We're thankful to the citizens and the government of the U.S. for carefully taking care of their memory. I think that's very worthy and noble. We'll always remember other historical examples when our countries